Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joined from a remote, undisclosed location, you know him, is extraterritorial Taylor.
Yeah, good evening.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, man.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us, new listeners and repeat offenders.
I'll keep repeating.
Oh, I hope you're keeping well out there, keeping safe, and most importantly, listening to the show. Hey!
Yeah, definitely.
Shameless plug.
Definitely.
We've got bonkers
a
episode.
back catalogue of that.
We got a bonkers episode for you today.
We have, indeed.
Mate, this one. Well, this week we're going to be joined in the Never a Straight Answer bunker by Flat Earth legend himself, David Weiss. He's here to discuss all things Flat Earth.
Yeah, and try and convince you what he knows is true.
Well, we're going to be here to discuss the global eye, so-called. Yes. So, what do you think about it all, Taylor?
Don't get me wrong. I like the idea that actually people go out there and look.
There's a community. Definitely.
And actually going out there and search it. For all we actually know, it could be true. But
who knows?
As far as I'm concerned, as at the moment, I'd say no, it's still.
Well, I know we're going to go and discuss this a bit more in length later on. I mean, I'm happy to let David just talk and let's see what he has to say, to be fair, for the most part. We have covered the Flat Earth before on the show, but it was more our take on it, wasn't it? But a little, maybe you could argue one-sided. So, you know, I'm quite interested.
That he can convince us that.
I mean, that's a claim he makes. He makes that claim that he can convince us. So let's see what he has to say on that. But before we get into all that, what have you been up to this week, Taylor?
Just been looking more into UFO stuff and that, basically.
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of UFO-ish stuff this week.
Catching up on old information as well as new information. And while I was doing it, I come across supposedly this year's hardest question.
The hardest question?
Yeah.
Go on then, give it us. Give it us. Come on, I'm feeling a bit like I should be brain teased. Come on, I want a brain teaser.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Right, so supposedly it is, which of these oceans is the smallest?
The smallest?
The smallest, not the largest, but the smallest one we've got.
Right, so the Pacific's the largest, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So we can rule that one out, right?
Yeah, but it is in the question. It's either the Pacific, the Indian, the Arctic, or the Atlantic.
I'm going to go Arctic.
You're going to go Arctic?
Yeah.
Well, I must admit, when I looked at it, I thought, it's a little bit of a tricky one. It could be a little bit of a tricky one because don't forget, Indian Ocean now has had land built on it.
Oh, Chinese of course, they've been building at new land, haven't they? So could you say that now the ocean's shrunk?
Well, yeah, in that area, I'd say, it would be.
Right, so go on. So
I actually said the Indian Ocean.
Right, okay.
Thinking that your answer could be like the actual one. And you were right.
I was right.
Yeah, it is the smallest. But it was
soon to be the largest one, so the ice caps melt.
Yeah, it's like, it's not really that hard unless we're getting fucking dumber.
I know, is that what people consider the world's hardest question? We got that between us pretty easily.
Question
fair enough. That's crazy.
Or the end of last year.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not myself.
What else you been?
I thought I'd bring it up.
Oh no, it's fair dues that you have. To be honest, I mean, I saw something quite interesting on the internet this week. I mean, Secure Team's back, as we mentioned, Secure Team 10. So we love the videos over there, and Tyler doesn't disappoint. No. He brought out a video earlier this week. I don't know if you saw it, and it was basically a guy who claims to have been abducted, and he fought the alien off, and his Google Earth pictures of him apparently punching a grey alien in the face. Yeah, he says he can't remember in his backyard. Yeah, he says he doesn't remember anything about the abduction per se. But
when he had a look on Google
images,
he's seen himself punching
a grey alien. I mean, what do you reckon to that? I mean, Tyler always delivers it in such a compelling way, where it's he's so good. But I
do like the way he puts things together. He does actually collate it all together and put it in the right terminology.
Yeah, I mean, what do you reckon to the whole scenario, though? I mean, I commented on the video. I said, personally, and I'll say the guy was from England, right, who was being abducted, and he, So what I will say is, I'd probably know a lot of people who'd, if they were being abducted, they'd probably have a scrap with the alien to try and defend for themselves, or self-defense. I'd say that sounds pretty plausible to me.
I have two things on it. That question about it. One, the picture, which
the picture's a bit grainy, is it? It's Google Earth.
Yeah, but also, on abductions, you usually there is a thing of no movement. You can't move. A lot of, but then again, in the day.
So you're trying to say that they couldn't? He would have been under the tractor beam and potentially wouldn't have been able to raise his fist up to this grey.
Well, a lot of abductions come across as they can't move. They can only move their head slightly. They can move their eyes. They've got their sense, but they're frozen, and they try to move and they can't move. It's only certain.
Well, he was able to sucker punch this guy. He was like, "Welcome to Earth," and that scene in Independence Day.
But then it questions as well. Oh, is it happening to all of us, and we're not?
Who knows? Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because they say about alien abductions that most people wouldn't realise if they had. They just get put back into bed and tucked in. So,
yeah.
Well, there you go.
Only those set view work it out and go, hold on, there's something to question there.
Well, there you go. What do you reckon? If you've been abducted, let us know, because we'd love to hear from you. Other than that, this week it's been quite an uneventful week. Been doing a lot of major research on an upcoming episode we've got around Valentine's Day. Ho ho! It's one to listen out for. It's nothing to do with Valentine's Day.
No. No, but there's two stories that look joined together, sort of.
Well, kind of, in a bit of matrimony.
Yeah, we found
that there was a bit of a connection with another story, so we're going to. Well, there is some sort of like marriage there. Other than that, we've just joined up to the fundraising platform Buy Me a Coffee.
Oh yeah, please! I love my coffee.
I'm a coffeeholic, mate. If you, do you know what? Right, if that's all you can do, that's the least you can do, is buy us a brew. Yeah.
Oh, buy us a brew. Come on.
Then
I have nothing all day except for my brews.
Dead easy to do. Go over to buymeacoffee.com/NASApod. Dead easy to remember as well, because coffee comes in those little pods as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So we're NASA brew, NASA pod.
Yeah. Little pods flying around.
Dead easy. Obviously, if you love what we do over here on the show, then support us, help us grow it and make it better for you.
Run that water of money,
and just for the price of a coffee, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's
it. It makes a smile on our face.
It's got a connection there actually, because we've got coming up now. Before we get into the main topic and stuff, chain connections.
Oh,
I need to make a jingle of some description. We had a few people. Well, actually, a few people got it right. In fact, mostly everyone got it right.
See, clever people out there.
It was a bit of an easy one, I'll be honest.
Yes.
I mean, the first clue was like, it's that. It's water.
Yeah.
It was water, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It
was water.
Because I'm playing along with you guys at home, right? And sometimes I think, is he trying to? This is the thing, you see. So a lot of people who played gave me grief over the email, because I think what they thought was we'd never put something out that quite easy. Yeah. So they thought that all those were a red herring, and it did actually add up to something, but they couldn't put the finger on what it was. Right?
It's never a straight answer.
So I know. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, no. I can't tell you. I don't know, but I think it's the obvious. Yeah, it's Taylor. It's got to be the obvious. Yeah. So. Yeah. But saying that. So we had a few people. So there was several winners. I think it wasn't a Hall of Fame question, so no one's going in the Hall of Fame this week. So. Unfortunately,
listen next week, and you're possibly getting there.
We've got a bunch more clues to deliver throughout this week's episode. So pay attention, and you could be joining the previous winners in the Smarty Pants Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's 2 up to now, isn't there?
We've got 2. I think, who was it? Harriet and Nathan.
Nathan, that's it. I was going to say Nigel, I don't know why.
Nigel, sounds like a winner.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Maybe that's the next winner, Nigel.
You never know.
Come on, Nigel.
Come on, Nige. Right. Yeah. Well, have we got anyone who listens called Nigel? We could do with a Nigel. Right, anyway.
Yeah.
So, this week's first clue is an audio clue, I do believe.
Yes, I do believe so.
Right, now, I actually put this on the mixer, and I was like, I do know what that is, because I've heard this before, right?
Yes.
So, here's our first clue for this week's Chain Connections. That's horrible.
Nasty.
Your call is very important to us. Well, what could that be? I know I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Horrible music, that.
Rubbing my scalp here, mate.
Oh. Well, what do you think that connects to? It's a difficult one this week. You might get it. In fact, you might get it. But
yeah,
if you could be a potential customer of this company, and know that whole music. Anyway,
you definitely know that music.
We've got more clues, like I say, coming up through the show, so make sure you pay attention. The clues can be audio, cryptic, depends. So keep a listening. But we've got an associate this week. This week we've got an affiliate with the Craft Gin Club.
Oh yeah!
Every month they select one of the world's finest small batch gins. And send a full-size bottle to the members, along with a range of complimentary gourmet treats and a copy of the club magazine.
Nice.
They love it. They like a bit. If people are loving gin, that's it. People love gin.
Drinking it in the world.
Well, they've got a deal on there over there, 50% off the first box, I think, or the first 2 boxes.
You'd be a mug not to go for it.
So there's a link in the description and a product code there, or a coupon code. You know what I'm talking about. With all the kids. Use honey. Apparently, that's really good. We're not sponsored with honey. It's an app there. We'll talk about that another time, Taylor.
Okay.
The kids know what I'm talking about.
All right then.
Yeah, so...
In with the kids now.
Yeah, so make sure you check the link in the description. Well... Without further ado, has it got to that time already in the show? Yes. Well, again, this week we're joined by David Weiss. David is a known flat earther who spends his time spreading the word about the flat Earth and the global eye. David's best known for hosting the Flat Earth podcast along with co-host Matt and Curious Jay, where they discuss all things related to the flat Earth theory. And David also claims to be able to convince anyone that he's been that you've been lied to this whole time, basically, and the Earth is indeed flat. So
convince away, son. Convince away.
Welcome to the show. This week we're joined in the studio and on the show by David Weiss. David is a known flat earther who spends his time spreading the word about the flat Earth and the global eye. David's known for for hosting the Flat Earth podcast along with co-host Matt and Curious Jay. This podcast it's a podcast that discusses all things related to the flat Earth and the stationary Earth theory. David also claims to be able to convince pretty much anyone that we've all been lied to this whole time, and that the Earth is indeed flat. Welcome to the show, David. How are you doing?
Welcome, David.
Hey, thanks, guys. Looking forward to this conversation. I love talking to people that don't believe the Earth is flat.
Well, it's not that I just don't believe.
It's not the case.
It's that, I was saying this to Taylor earlier on, actually, that it's what you're taught in school. So why would you not... Anybody out there would normally think, why would I be taught anything else? Why would that be the case? Why would I have been lied to?
They try and show you on a narrative. They try and put you on a narrative of
course,
information and nothing else more. Don't look outside the box.
Now,
stay in the box.
My instincts tell me that we're not moving. It's, but I always put that down to scale. the scale of things and how small and insignificant, in terms of the size of the planet.
Saying as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just an illusion. That's how I always kind of seen it. So like you say, in terms of what I was taught in school to what my instincts tell me, it's two different things. But it's like, again, why would you feel like you've been lied to? Why would that be the case?
I'm going to answer all those questions. We need to take them one at a time, though. You've been, when you say taught in school, you were brainwashed in school. School is an indoctrination camp. And think about this. Let's say you know the secrets of this world and you are in charge of this world. You're the one that gets to set the rules and that the people will follow. Are you going to teach them things that may make them challenge your authority? Or are you going to teach them things to keep them little slaves in their prison planet where they think that they're insignificant and they have no power? That's what this is all about. It's all about control. And right now, I left my own. I started my own company. I had the American dream going. I was making high six-figure salary, and I walked away from it all to take ridicule and scorn and talk to people like you. Not that you guys are ridiculing me.
This is interesting.
Man, I've got to admit, you are a brave man.
No, I'm not. Wait, hold on. I'm not saying you guys. We're having an open conversation. This is going to be a fantastic conversation. You guys are going to be my best friends when we're done. But the reason the world is in the shape that it's in right now is because people are lost in space, spinning out of control, not knowing who they are, where they are, what they are. They're lost. They believe in fantasies, and the lie is so big that even open-minded people have a hard time seeing how big it is. Right at the beginning, a smart, intelligent person says, "Why? Why the lie? Why would they lie?" And that's the reason they're doing this is amazing, and we're going to get into that. But let's first discuss, what the flat Earth isn't, okay? What it isn't. Because people that search for the flat Earth end up at the Flat Earth Society and end up with disinformation. There's over 100 videos every day added to YouTube, disinformation videos. Just videos, attack videos, videos to tire your mind out and give you bad information all about flat Earth. And it's all bad. To find the good information is really tough. But I'm going to tell you guys, I created an app that will help you learn about the flat Earth, and I have a challenge for people. I take the Flat Earth Clock, Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app challenge, and if you could supply me with one proof of the globe, I will give you a Bitcoin, a full Bitcoin.
Okay. A full Bitcoin, and that's worth 23 grand at the minute.
No, 35 grand.
Wow.
35?
Well, there you go. There's a challenge for you.
Before you know it, with the way things are going.
Well, yeah.
Max Egan is predicting it's at 227,000 by the end of the year. Okay,
wow.
So, and I'm serious about this.
And what's that for? So what you're offering that for again?
I'm offering that for one proof of the spinning globe in infinite space. Just one proof. And if you want to say, "Hey, I've got a photograph," you have to show me which photograph, and I'm going to show you
obviously.
how that's a real photograph.
Well, this is the thing. I'm a photographer, so I know when you say about space, the images that are coming from space, they are composites. They are kind of data that's been gathered and been transformed, and you end up with a computer rendering that then they send off to be shined up and made look, and it ends up with like a CGI. Yeah, so I do agree that there's a lot of CGI stuff on the net, and if you Google space, you're not getting an accurate representation.
Right. So look at the pictures of Mars first, and now the ones now. They're totally different, and it was all down to the digital information that they were getting. They weren't actually getting the actual what you'd see from the naked eye.
So they tell us that the Earth is 24,901 miles in circumference around the equator. So there's a globe math formula to calculate what the drop is over distance, and that formula says that at just 3 miles, the drop is 6 feet. So that means a 6-foot-tall person standing at the edge of calm water, large bodies of water at rest, lay flat, measurably, testably, provably, repeatably, flat, scientifically proven flat, that a boat should start going over that horizon. You shouldn't be able to see the surface of the water past 3 miles because it's dropping behind a physical curve. But we can put a camera at 1 foot off the ground, which brings that horizon even closer. But we can see oil rigs at 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles. Yeah. We can see the surface of the water beyond those oil rigs.
And at the site of 23 miles, I think you can see until you can't see any further, I believe.
Well, no. It's all about atmospheric conditions. And our consumer-grade telephoto lenses now can zoom in past their lives. Our optics have outgrown their lives. So, but the thing is, you can't see forever. Why can't we all see Mount Everest? Well, there's two reasons. One, the main reason is because the atmosphere becomes dense. Even on the clearest of day, 200 miles is so dense you can't see anything except the sun will be able to penetrate a clear day that far. It not much farther though, which is very, very strange. But there's a location in Aluja, France, where you can see Mount Canigou at 175 miles away. Now, there's only 2 days a year where you can see it. All the rest of the time you look out, the horizon is empty. But 2 days a year, when the sun lines up with it, as the sun just goes beyond it, it backlights it, and then you can see it cut out of the sun, showing that it's really there, but you can't see it because the light bouncing off of it can't make it to your eyes. The top of that mountain should be over a mile below a physical curve, but we can see the entire mountain.
Right, okay.
So there's no curvature. So here's a question for you guys. How many stretches of flat water does it take to make a sphere?
Oh, God knows, to be honest. But this is the thing. I cannot honestly say from either side. I cannot honestly say from either side, definitively, who's right. And this is the conundrum, because you do kind of, I mean, I know what you're saying. There is a lot of disinformation stuff out there, and people get sucked into it. They do kind of go down the rabbit holes, and, can end up with a lot of information that, like, even yourself would say, no, that's wrong, even from your perspective, and this is the danger. I mean, it's like, considering we are in a position where, like you say, you're saying from one perspective, I'll give you a Bitcoin if you can prove me wrong and say, look, there's definitive proof that we're living on a globe Earth. And then on the other side, it's like, well, where's the definitive? I mean, I know you've got, like, there's a lot of kind of stuff about horizon lines and flight paths and, I just can't, I mean, from an average person, I cannot put a finger on say, well, is that legit or not? Let me
jump in here. The people that are teachers, teachers are the ones that memorized and regurgitated the information the best, so they get to teach it to the next generation. Whether it's true or not, teachers aren't deceivers. They're just the most brainwashed because they're the ones that memorized the Rockefeller textbooks the best.
Totally agree.
So,
well, I've said this. I've got a friend who's an RE. He got an RE degree. And I said to him, so what do you intend to do with that RE degree after you've finished university? And he said, well, teach RE, because there's no jobs apart from teaching, passing on the information. Exactly. That's it.
So they have convinced us, people say, Dave, where's your degree? What did you study? Well, I took 4 years of astronomy, and I was the man. The girls were cheating off of me. I was tutoring them. It was very good to me, if you know what I mean. And but then I realized now that it was 4 years of pseudoscience. But they've convinced us.
Well, how do you say it's pseudoscience? I mean, I asked you this earlier about space travel.
Yeah, well, hold on. We'll talk about that in a second. They've convinced us to give up our common sense for their nonsense and to have us say, well, I can't answer that. I'm not a scientist. Let me look at, a guy with a bow tie who knows how to lie, named Bill Nye, the lying guy. And get my information from him. He's a failed actor. He's not a scientist. He's a comedian. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, the other spokesman, he's just a failed actor. Okay.
Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson's got a kind of, I think he's a bit of a naysayer about a lot of things, to be honest.
Well,
I thought science was being open to the idea of new theories and new ways of thinking. I mean,
here's a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
We don't ever need to talk to flat earthers. The science is settled, he said.
Right.
Science isn't settled.
Well, no, I do agree that these things, crop up years later, we were taught things that we were taught aren't necessarily true or do come to change, and it's like that is quite a naive statement, I've got to say, regardless of which way you look at it.
You have got to look at it on the other side that science can only give you what they've got, and whenever you answer a question, you've always got hundreds of more questions to answer. and then it's a build-up. We're getting so far, but we're not quite where we think we should be.
So,
to be honest,
so what we call science when it comes to the globe Earth is pseudoscience. It's all made up junk. I'll give you an example. Do you know you know what the center of the Earth looks like, right? Because you've seen that meme, that cutout of the ball that shows you the different layers, right?
Yeah.
It shows you the lava.
Well, I understand that isn't actually the case.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to remember the deepest hole ever dug was just short of 8 miles. That's equivalent to if the Earth was an apple, you got halfway through the skin. Okay.
Cola. Halfway
through the skin, and when they were using their ground penetrating radar to see what they were going to hit next, they were wrong every step of the way. And then they got to 7.5 miles. They couldn't get any deeper, but somehow they know what's through the rest of the Earth. It's pseudoscience.
Well, it's speculation, isn't it? That's generally what they do. Yeah.
It's just made up nonsense.
Well, Russia did it, and America did it. America did it in the sea. They tried digging it quickly through the sea, and they had to stop. And Russia did it on land, and they had to stop because they couldn't go anywhere further. They could not. I think it took 6 months to try and dig what they dug, like a mile.
Oh yeah, I think
they just couldn't get any further.
They actually tried to. Did they actually take the drilling operation to like where was it? Like it was like more towards the Siberia.
Yeah, it's Kola. It was a place called Kola where they did
Kola
it.
borehole.
That's right.
Because they left it and then they come back to try and do it again, and they got a little further, and then it was like, no, you can't.
Well, this is the thing is, it's like you can't definitively say. It's like whether you dig a hole all the way through, you can then say we've got an idea, but you can't even say then because I mean generally. The way the Earth's brought together and kind of formed, I mean, who's to say that what's formed on one side isn't,
pseudoscience.
I don't. It's all
made up.
You could think about it forever. It's it could be anything.
But it's science that lines up. That's the thing.
So when you say pseudoscience, I mean, what do you mean by that? I mean, do you think it's just anything that's being because a lot of people would say that what you kind of believe in terms of the flat Earth would be pseudoscience.
Well, so people can use words, but we actually use science. So things fall into 3 baskets. Hey, that works on a flat Earth.
Okay.
That works on a ball Earth, or that works both on a flat Earth and a ball Earth the same.
That's it. That's exactly how you should look at science.
That nothing falls into the works on only a ball Earth. Nothing. So as we go through this stuff, we can throw them in baskets. And at the end of this conversation, there's going to be nothing in the only works on a ball Earth. Like ships disappear over the horizon. Well, if the Earth was a ball, that's how ships would disappear. Correct.
Yeah.
But they also disappear over the horizon. They appear to disappear over the horizon, but they're not. They look like they are. But then when you zoom in on it with a super zoom camera, you can bring the entire ship and its hull back in after it disappeared from the bottom up.
But there must be an edge.
Well, there is no edge. So here's what the flat Earth is. We're told that Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of the ball. Okay, it's 13,000 miles in if you sail around it.
Yeah,
but that's not what it is at all. What we do is we live what I call in the Antarctic puddle. So what is a puddle? A puddle is where water accumulates in the low spot in the land, and the edge of the puddle is what? Where the land is higher than the water surface, right?
Yeah, okay.
And that contains the water. So a pond is a bigger puddle, a lake is a bigger pond, and the world oceans, just think of it as a big giant lake. And the edge of that lake is not the edge of a pancake, it's the edge of the lake. And it's the land that surrounds the world oceans, and that land is called Antarctica. It's the highest land on Earth. Okay? So when you get to Antarctica, the land is 100, 200 feet over your head. Okay, because we live in the Antarctic puddle, the Antarctic basin, right? So if you get up on Antarctica and start walking away from the edge, we don't know how far that goes. It goes thousands of miles.
So do you think there could be actually more land beyond there? Or, I mean, more
absolutely.
like kind of, well, what about civilizations?
Well, Captain Berg said there was.
I know we have looked into Antarctica quite a lot.
Yeah, Captain Byrd said that, Admiral Byrd said that there is more land bigger than the United States that no human has ever stepped foot on.
Yeah.
I believe that Antarctica is bigger than all of the world's oceans and continents combined
So why wouldn't we not want to utilise this land? Why is it that we need to... Because I know obviously about the Antarctica Treaty. Everyone's decided, you can't go there unless it's for research purposes. Now, I do believe you can go there. I mean, I was looking into if you could get flights out there. And, there's this myth about you can't go to Antarctica. But I do believe you can.
Myth. That's a fake myth. So
why has nobody discovered this land, I mean, on an independent level?
So there's about 15 different companies that you can take a tour of Antarctica, but they're all run by the same guy. Okay, so there's really only one company, and it costs you $10,000 to $30,000 just to go for a couple days. So it's very expensive.
Yeah,
you go there and they show you the edge. They bring you out to this peninsula. They show you that area there, and it's a plenty big area. They show you some penguins. Then they'll bring you outwards. They'll show you the ceremonial South Pole. But it's not really the South Pole. It's a ceremonial South Pole. You can't verify where it is because compasses don't work and GPS doesn't work, but they tell you it's the South Pole. So then there's no independent exploration by yourself. Nobody can go there and explore, and you'll be stopped by force. You'll be arrested. You'll be jailed. And it's happened several times. Yeah. Now, there's a couple people that said they got special permits, like Colin O'Brady and some other girl, where they hiked alone across Antarctica. And if you actually look at where they said they went out a little bit, and then they came back, and they said they went across.
Far, really.
But they did. So the reason that we don't go out there is because I believe that the people that are running our world and our rulers are the puppets of the real rulers. Okay. So we're just seeing the puppets that are holding court here, ruling over us. They discovered it in the 1950s. They discovered what Antarctica really was, and they decided to keep it to themselves for very good reason. Because if people understood that there's more, there's no stopping us. And an example that Mark Sargent always gives is you can take a tiger and you can put him in a small cage. He's not going to be very happy. But if you put him in a safari park that was 50 miles around, woods, everything, and then there's a fence, one day he would discover the fence and he'd go, a fence. He'd turn around and he'd go back in the park and he'd live his life well. You put a human in a park that's 1,000 miles around, 10,000 miles around. The human sees a fence. I got to get to the other side of that fence. Well, Antarctica is that fence. Yeah, okay. There's no stopping us.
So why has nobody managed to get there independently yet? I mean, you'd think that if there was this much of a movement that somebody. I mean, we've seen guys building rockets. What about Hitler? Come on.
I mean, if Hitler really went there and it's true, I would imagine.
Well, that's true.
Hitler would try and conquer as much as
like you
possible.
say, like David just said there. I mean, in terms of conquering, if there's no man's ever stepped foot there, I mean, it's going to be pretty easy to conquer. You do what you basically dictate what happens next in that area. You
don't know what's out there, and there's no place to refuel. There's no trees. There's no resources that you can manage yourself. So how are you going to go there? If you had millions and millions of dollars and approval, how are you going to even navigate out there? GPS doesn't work.
True.
There's compasses don't work, and it's dark most of the year.
So do you not just think that could just be something that adds to the mystique of the place that, it's because it's the unknown, it's pretty much the last Wild West, if you like, of uncharted territory. Yeah. Do you not think that's why there's so much kind of interest and appeal about it? I mean, with like you say, the idea that the Nazis found the hole to the hollow earth. Obviously, but that's a contradiction in theory right there, isn't it?
Well, here's what the hollow earth is. I believe that they found more land, and you can't describe more land on a ball. Okay. So they told you it was the hollow earth, because the hollow earth is just another way to believe you live in a heliocentric, universe filled with balls. Okay. They want you to feel that you're insignificant, a speck in an infinite expanding universe, when in fact we are the center of creation, okay? And that we have true dominion over ourselves. Nobody has power over us, and we have great power with our thoughts.
Do you think that does the flat Earth kind of theory fall into any sort of religious texts or any sort of religious beliefs anywhere?
Every religious text talks about the flat earth. If you just start with the Christian Bible, there's over 200 verses that talk about a flat, immovable plane. You know, page 1 of the Bible in Genesis says God separated the waters from the waters with the firmament. Okay. Werner von Braun, the supposed Nazi scientist that was brought over in Project Paperclip, if that's even real, which I don't think it is, he's the one that ran NASA, and on his gravestone, the only thing it says is Psalms 19:1 on it, besides the date of his birth and death. Psalms 19:1. Okay, you know what that is? It talks about how God separated the waters with the firmament. He's talking about the dome over the earth. The rocket scientist that runs NASA is talking about a dome over a flat earth. Okay, that's all it says on his gravestone. So is that them telling us? Is that a deathbed, confession? I think it's them just kind of rubbing it in our faces.
Yeah, well, I kind of think that quite a lot in terms of these theories. I always think that there's always some sort of, it's hidden in plain sight, or Denver Airport being a big one, with all the symbolism that surrounds that. I always think that's something else that or the Georgia Guidestones, it's like putting something out there that's a bit like, all right, that's a bit too much.
So then, could this be answers for the abominable snowman seen every now and again, like monsters through out paintings?
Well, actually, I get where you're coming from on that one. You mean like
could be things.
Well, you never
from
know what
outside,
creatures or animals that are
wandered into this special land that we're on.
So.
What is so special about the basin? I mean, you say we're the center of creation. So, in terms of, a lot of people would, at the moment, let's just say, there's a lot of people who do feel kind of isolated and, not feeling themselves at the minute, and do feel like, it's hard to get your head around the fact that you're just an insignificant speck. Now, you're saying, we're in this basin of the center of creation. In terms of what does that mean in terms of the bigger picture? What's the purpose in that respect?
Yeah.
So if you believe that you're an insignificant speck that was created when nothing exploded, created everything, and then all the rocks accumulated into balls, then all of the gases made even bigger balls with more gravity and left a vacuum in between them somehow. And then lightning struck and created an amoeba, with DNA, which is impossible. And then that turned into a fish that grew legs and found another sexy fish that grew legs.
Well, they found in space dust that there are genetic, there's DNA out there.
And who told you that? The liars at NASA told you that, okay? Anything that has the word NASA in it, know that it's pure garbage.
Oh, mate.
Apart from our podcast.
Apart from your podcast. So, Never a straight answer. You guys are at least questioning NASA. So, here's the thing.
Go for it.
Here's the thing. If I show you that NASA's faking something, like faking weightlessness on the ISS, well, then you have to unwind that to, all right, maybe the ISS isn't up there. Holy crap, we didn't go to the moon. Everything unwraps all the way to we didn't go to the moon. And you could hear me tell you that we've caught them hanging from wires on the ISS and getting tangled in the wires when they do their silly little flips.
Oh, yeah.
And the CGI screw-ups where they fade in and out. Or
of
Chris
photographic and video.
Was singing a song, and the other guy was holding a microphone. And he stuck the microphone right into his neck, and it went through his face, right? But because it was a green screen. It was all they weren't even in the same room. Right. And they have screw-ups all the time. So many that I wonder, are they that friggin' inept and dumb, or are they doing it on purpose to letting us know? Because we have thousands of them. And again, it's so hard to find them. You used to be able to just Google like bubbles in space or ISS fakery, but now you get all propaganda. So I created the app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's for Android phones and for iOS phones. You have to have an 8.0 on Android operating system or iPhone 6 and above. And what it does is it feeds you all of the real information. Every day there's a new featured video, short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekends. And I tell people, take the app challenge, watch it for 2 weeks. Then if you think you still have a proof that you live on a ball, hit the frequently asked questions page, up comes the top 21 questions, and inside of each one of those questions are dozens and dozens of videos explaining how it works. Okay. And now, by the way, you can't say, where do you get your information? YouTube? Well, YouTube is like the world. It's filled with shit, and it's filled with good stuff too. You just have to sort it out. So we sorted it out for you. You watch it, and if you don't like it, go do it yourself, and you can get the same results that we got. So, but it's bringing up things that people don't realize. You know, we're indoctrinated. Well, boats go over the horizon, therefore the Earth is flat. Well, we can drag a brick across a Home Depot floor and make it disappear on a flat floor just by getting far enough away that its angular size disappears. Then we stack more bricks on top of that, and the camera can only see the top 3 bricks and not the bottom brick. We drag it farther, and the second brick disappears. Okay, and that's just on a perfectly smooth Home Depot floor. So again, once you understand the deceptions that have been thrown at us, then you start to see. And by the way, I became a flat earther, and I still thought we went to the moon. And we were in a group chat, and everyone just looks at me and goes, "What? You haven't looked into NASA?" And then they started throwing videos at me. It took me 10 minutes of honesty of looking at it going, holy crap, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And by the way, this takeover from the flat Earth to the heliocentric Earth is only about 100 years old, maybe a little less.
Oh yeah, because I was looking at. I was looking on your YouTube channel, tell me about Ruth. Yeah, tell us about Ruth.
Ruth just turned 103 2 days ago, and I interviewed her when she was 102 back in February of 2020, and I was interviewing her about the World's Fairs. And by the way, the World's Fairs, another massive deception.
Okay,
the World's Fairs were the takeover of Tartaria to the world that we have now. And she was telling me about the lights, and it was just the whole world was lit up for the first time for her. And she had such a great memory. I asked her, I said, "Do you remember where you went to elementary school?" She knew the school, the teachers, the kids in her class, the road it was on. And I was like, "What did they teach you in science class about the Earth?" And I had never mentioned any of this to her. And she goes, "They taught me the Earth was flat." And bam. Yeah. So then we found other old people. We found somebody from Croatia who said in the 1930s, all of the schools there were still teaching flat Earth. Okay, so this was a Connecticut public school in the 1920s that was teaching flat Earth to kids in school. So, but then they changed it. So that's when the takeover started. And
why did the Vatican change it from? Because it was originally. As far as I'm aware, it was originally always thought it was flat, but then as time's gone on and it ended up being
evil takeover. It's literally to control our minds, because if you can hide somebody from who they really are, that we are here, we are divine created souls having a physical experience in this meat suit, where our soul is on a journey and we're here and our soul guides us. If they can program us with television programming and they can get us to disconnect from our souls, the way I look at it, the easiest way to describe it, which will make some people freak out, is they're literally trying to steal our souls. They want our souls. Okay, wow. That's what it's all about.
I can sort of see that kind of thing with like what we talk about on other subjects of takeovers from like Illuminati, the New World Order and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's sort of
do you
like
reckon
that
that's
EMF signals
a part of the involvement of arguing?
What's the question, Taylor?
Do you think any of that has got to do with it being flat and then put as a circle, as a ball, and then back flat?
I would have thought.
Here's the thing. We have these flat Earth conferences all over the world, and all the people there are awake, and they're no longer falling for the magic trick that's being played to us. They no longer fall for the politics. They no longer fall for all of the nonsense that they're doing to control us. So this is about denying who you are and hiding God. And they figure if you can not know who you are and have doubt that there's a God, which most of the world does at this point, then you're much more controllable. It's all about control. This lie is so big, it's hard to fathom, even for me. I've been doing this for 7 years with the flat Earth.
So what was it that actually made you think, right, this is a lie? What was it that sparked you? What piece of information was it that tipped you over the edge?
The number one was that we can see too far. And then the other one was the second law of thermodynamics says that you can't have high pressure next to low pressure without a physical barrier. And then space is a vacuum, which is the ultimate low pressure. Our Earth is a high pressure system. And when I tried to go to scientists and globe proponents and teachers for their explanation, the only thing they could say, and every single one has the same answer: gravity's holding it down. Well, I can take a straw, point it downwards, and with the weak vacuum of my lungs, just low pressure, I can suck air or water up and away from gravity effortlessly.
Yeah. Now, I think gravity is a weird one. Yeah. I mean, I've looked into a few different theories for gravity. I mean, I kind of do like the idea of it being the many worlds interpretation, where there's so many dimensions, if you like, and it's spread out between all those.
So hang on. That reminded me of something I want to say earlier, and then I'll tell you what I believe gravity is.
Okay.
And it's testable, repeatable, and measurable. The many dimensions, people say, do you believe in, the other dimensions, other realms? If you look at the light spectrum, if it was 6 feet long, we see a millimeter of that. Okay. Yeah. So everything is electric and magnetic in nature and vibration. What if there was an animal, let's just call him a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, that can change his frequency right outside our visible range?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are animals who do see outside our range and see in different spectrums
and
already.
If you've ever done ayahuasca, you know that there's other crap going around you. Okay? Yeah. All right? So
done similar.
If you haven't done it, find a shaman and
done
do
similar,
it. Or let it
but
find
I'd love
Never
to.
done it, but I'm prepared to do it.
Yeah, but do it with a shaman. This is no joking. You need a good shaman, and you need the right frame of mind to do it. Don't do it on your own.
Well, any shamans out there, you give us a call.
You'll lose your soul if you do.
Yeah,
possibly. So the other, what was the other question we were talking about before you brought that up?
Like parallel universe, parallel worlds, gravity.
Gravity. So Neil deGrasse. So then I started looking into what gravity is. I found out it's only a theory. Every test that's been done to prove mass attracts mass, like the Cavendish experiment with the two balls hanging in the barn, is flawed so many different ways that it doesn't prove anything. And if mass attract mass, a plumb bob on the side of Mount Everest should go slightly sideways, even a tiny bit, but it doesn't. But you can argue that the Mount Everest isn't big enough compared to the gravity of the Earth.
Well, that's funny actually, because isn't a plumb bob supposed to kind of like be sea level, something to do with being level to sea level?
A plumb bob points straight down, and a plumb bob here in Connecticut in the USA points in the same direction as a plumb bob does in Australia, because Australia is not down under, it's out over. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Right. So
because this is the thing, actually, because this is the thing that interested me about the flight paths. I mean, I hope you can go. You can finish what you're saying, and I'll remember it. Yeah, of course.
So, talking to the high priest of scientism, Neil deGrasse, he said in an interview, I don't know what gravity is. I don't know, but there has to be dark matter and dark energy. Otherwise, gravity doesn't work. Therefore, there must be dark energy and dark matter, because the world couldn't exist without it.
So you're explaining one unexplainable thing away with another unexplainable thing, basically.
Yeah, but now they're changing their mind and saying it's looking like there's an experiment not that long ago that said that dark matter and dark energy is gravity.
Oh, right. So it was that all along.
Different form of gravity.
It's pseudoscience. It's nonsense that everybody goes, well, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I can't figure that stuff out. And then the thing where they measured gravity waves coming from space somewhere last year, it literally is equivalent to the flap of a fly wing on the other side of the world. This thing measured it somehow. It's the analogy. I can't even remember it. It's the most ridiculous thing times a million. It's ridiculous what they're saying they measured, because none of it makes any sense. But what is gravity? So the Earth is electric and magnetic by nature. We are electrical beings. Yeah. Testable, measurable. The Earth has a negative electric charge to it. Measurable, testable. The voltage in the air goes up 100 volts every meter you get off the ground.
So where's that being generated from? Because I mean, I would have, again, a globe Earth perspective would say that's being generated by the spin of the.
Well, that's not it. Well, the spin, it could be the spin of the ether, because the ether, the sun and the moon, which are the anode and cathode of the Earth battery system, are spinning above us. Okay. And so maybe all of that energy is coming from the sun. I don't know, but here's the thing. We can get into that, but the Earth has a negative charge to it. That negative charge is attracts things. It's a weak charge. Just like they say gravity's weak, that negative charge is weak, and it establishes a downward direction. That is down. Down is down. Left and right, forward and backwards are relative to wherever you're standing and facing, but up is up, down is down. Here, Australia, South America, it doesn't matter where you are, it's the same direction. Down is down. And then buoyancy and density sort everything out. If I dropped a basketball and a rock at the same time through the air over a swimming pool, they would both fall through the air because they're more dense than the air. The basketball would sit on top of the water because it's less dense than the water, and the rock would go to the bottom of the pool because it's more dense. And it just knows which way is down because of that electrical charge. Now, you can take like a triangle of tinfoil and electrify it with a negative charge, and it floats up in the air because you're out. You're not defying gravity. You're just negating that negative charge. So that's why propulsion, electromagnetic propulsion is a thing, but they don't want us to know about it because you can pull that out of the ether and you could have your flying cars that would never need to be fueled.
Work, really,
and not only that, you need it's not perfect because you want to create the energy out of nothing, but you have to put energy into actually. Would you say
this is? I mean, because I assume that in a flat Earth sense of things, it's like obviously we talk about GPS and obviously GPS. What you were saying about GPS doesn't work because in Antarctica earlier, but obviously if you believe in GPS, that's satellites, right?
Yeah, well, the GPS is the ground positioning system.
Okay.
It only works where there's land, where there's people, where there's civilization, where they could have towers.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at. Would it just have to be towers rather than satellites operating?
Well, there are no satellites. There's no satellites falling around the Earth, but there are satellites on balloons. Who's this is a question. You guys can answer this. Get this right. Ready? Who's the largest owner of helium companies and the largest consumer of helium in the entire world?
U.S. military, is it?
Nope.
Don't know. Probably Tesla at the moment.
Nope.
Go NASA.
NASA.
Yeah.
NASA launches satelloons from Antarctica. Just go
well,
look
it's always
up,
a weather balloon as well, isn't it? The blade.
Well, not just weather balloons. They have 8,000-pound satellites that go up for over a year. And because of the predicted wind currents at different levels, they can remotely keep these things hovering over wherever they want them, just by raising and lowering their altitudes. So there's thousands of these things up there, tens of thousands of them, and they don't really tell us about them. Why is that,
Well, actually, information come out not that long ago about how the satellites were picking up protons and that coming from the Earth, not actually coming to the Earth, but coming away. And there was something about time dilation. There was the
spin of the Earth is slowing down a little bit or spinning faster.
Well, they don't know what's creating this force or stuff coming out. They don't know actually what it is.
So here's a little rule that you can give yourself. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, of course you can.
Go for it.
Okay. So anytime you hear the word NASA, immediately replace it with bullshit. Okay. So everywhere you see NASA, just don't say NASA, just say bullshit. Bullshit says this. Bullshit said that. Because NASA is shit.
If you collect that information as we are doing as they want us to, and we're also looking outside the box, because we're at the end of it, we want to see what's the ultimate game for doing this.
Yeah.
So,
well, the thing is as well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I believe in space. Yeah, I believe that there is other planets and potentially other life forms, and I think the globe theory goes kind of more in hand with that. Do you know what I mean?
So hang on. Because we're told that the universe is so big, there's so many planets, it's ridiculous to think that we're the only ones. Well, we're not a planet. We're a plane. And there may be other puddles beyond Antarctica. There may be other rings around our puddles.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is what I was getting at earlier. I mean, what's beyond these?
Extraterrestrials come from the extra territory, extra terra. You got to look at the words that they use. They're telling us. And then think about all of NASA's terms in space. Everything is nautical. You know, the Tranquility Sea, the Sea of Tranquility, their dockings, the ships.
Yeah.
It's all nautical. I believe that space is water. Biblically, it says it's water. With the Go Fast rocket hit something that seemed like water at 73 miles up. I don't believe anybody has ever been to space because space doesn't exist. Now, that's a big bite to take off. But if I show you the proof from the space shuttle, not from the space shuttle, space station, undeniable proof that they're faking things, you have to replace the word NASA.
Yeah, of course. I mean, okay? the thing is, I mean, I started to speculate on the whole NASA landing on the moon, whether they did or they didn't. I started thinking they didn't, right? And still I started looking into it and with a different perspective of, you know, you've bigged yourself up as a government to say we're going to do this amazing thing, whether they could or they couldn't, or whether they existed or not, you know. I don't think they had the capabilities to I felt they had the capabilities to get there. They just didn't have the capabilities to broadcast that live across to everybody and do a good show of it. So I think they just faked all the evidence, but then still did it.
There was no films, was there? All the films got suddenly missing.
They got suddenly missing, and then the whole thing with the radiation belts.
Oh, of course,
and everything.
Yeah.
And the amount of film that they was shot. When did they have time to shoot all this film? And never once. If you're ever flying in an airplane, coming into your home airport, and you're looking down and you see your house, what do you say to the person next to you?
Oh, my
that's my house.
That's my house, right? You don't even know the person next to you. Yeah. Well, the guys are on the moon looking back at the Earth, which is 6 times bigger than the moon when they look back. Never once did they go, look at the Earth. Never once did they go, wow, look at the Earth. Not once.
Well, maybe I'd be like, get it out your system, boys. Come on.
Yeah.
We're going live in a minute.
But then
Come on.
It has to be professional, didn't they?
That's what I'm saying.
Have you watched the videos of them jumping around the moon, going,
playing golf
and falling
and
down
stuff.
and pulling? All you have to do is look at it. But Nixon talked to them without a delay from the White House. But
that's
Felix
what I mean.
Baumgarten, in the 2020 something, who did the Red Bull space jump, they couldn't reach. They were losing communication with him at 127,000 feet.
They didn't have the communication power back then to do that.
Right. So in 1960, 1970, they can talk to a guy on the moon without a delay at 238,000 miles away.
Oh, yeah, and broadcast it globally.
They couldn't reach Felix Baumgarten directly above them at 127,000 feet.
Right, yeah, that's the thing. These are the things I had a problem with, you see. But, I mean, this is the thing. When I kind of looked into the Kubrick, when we did the Kubrick episode to see whether he had anything to do with it, that kind of sold me, to be honest.
Here's the thing. And the people have a hard time with flat Earth because they don't want to give up aliens. Well, aliens.
Well, it's not that just that. I mean, there's a stigma
on a flat Earth. They make more sense. They're just coming from
another planet,
flight away. They can go and come back for lunch, right?
Probably do as well.
They don't have to come.
But then the answer to that is they could land on the moon or Mars and go, right, we're picnicking here for a while and we'll come back. Or even space-time or even wormholes, you could say they could use wormholes.
This is what Dave's saying. This can still happen. All these, extraterrestrials or extra territory.
They're just a couple thousand miles away. That's it. Just a couple thousand.
So potentially this is it. I mean, it was like, whether they would, Admiral Byrd suggested that this land was uninhabited by man. Maybe that's what he meant by it, reading between the lines. It is uninhabited by man. It's inhabited by another species entirely,
Guys, on my app, you can find all my interviews. I do a lot of video interviews, and I bring up pictures. So when I'm talking about this stuff, if we were doing a video interview right now, you guys be going, okay, NASA's over. It's done, because I would show you stuff, and then there's no denying it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I'm just telling you right now, and you're holding on to NASA like I held on to NASA. But once you realize that the only reason NASA was created is to make you think you could live on a ball, that you live on a ball. It's really about controlling our minds. NASA is not a space agency, NASA, not a space agency. They're a Hollywood studio, and their rocket launches, they do launch something. It goes right out over the Bermuda Triangle, and it disappears, and you're watching a cartoon in no time. And the stuff you watch on TV is not the same thing that you see if you're watching it from 10 miles away where they make you stay. And nobody's ever been in one of those rockets that launched. No human has ever been in one of them. Okay? If you look at the Challenger, you know all of those astronauts are still alive, and they work for universities now.
Right, okay. Well, I actually did read something about this, actually.
I did read something about
Watch the videos. Yeah. I mean, the one of them is a law professor, and we did an analysis of her speaking there, and then compared it to one of her doing a speech before she went in the Challenger. Same dimple, same face, same teeth, same hair, same accent, and same hand motions, and same voice.
Yeah, okay? But did they openly admit that they are the person who...
No, they want absolutely not.
I mean, astronauts. I mean, the whole astronauts. You ask them anything about space travel, they go a bit aggressive, and
they all admit. They all say, "No, that was my identical twin." They all had identical twins, but none of those identical twins showed up at their funeral and spoke.
Right? Yeah. So why would? Yeah, exactly. Ooh.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting.
That's a good lead there. Yeah, I must admit that part. Yeah. If that's what they're permitted, so, they're saying. And
so you were saying about kind of like earlier about how like the this was taught 100 years ago, and then something changed. What was it that changed? I mean, was it the advent of space travel or rockets, or what you were talking about, like von Braun, and how obviously he had ties to kind of rocket technology and stuff like that.
So most flat earthers and most researchers talk about Project Paperclip, which is disclosed how we got the the scientists from the Nazis and brought them over here to work for us. And we're like, okay, you know what? They were horrible people, but let's use their technology for our own good. And I don't believe that at all, because there is no space program. So the whole space race is a farce. It's a joke. It's a put on. So I believe that Wernher von Braun is just a Hollywood actor playing the part of a Nazi scientist. Right?
But then where are the people who should have been sent to The Hague, because there was only 17 all in all that were executed?
I don't know. I wasn't there. Again, that's kind of out of my realm. But the whole space race is not real. Okay, the whole Sputnik, they beat us, we beat them to the moon. Okay, it's all just a show.
So what do you think? So what do you think is what have we got coming up then? Because I mean, obviously, it's been full force from NASA and SpaceX recently. Obviously,
and other countries at the minute as well. Everyone's
Trump recently just
have you watched
announced the Space Force? Is this
the Space Force is a space farce?
Is this going to be kind of something in the pipeline, is what I'm saying? Is it going to be like, you say it's a big Hollywood studio, is this gearing up for a big production?
Yeah, probably like a fake alien invasion or something.
Ooh, yeah,
but
that's great.
If you look at just go find the footage of China landing on the moon a couple weeks or months ago, recently, where they got the space dust or whatever. South Park would have rejected them from and putting that in their cartoons. It's the dumbest crap ever. Right now, there's a launch going on of like literally it looks like a friggin' grain silo that SpaceX is putting up. It's the fakest crap ever. These vertical rocket landings, impossible. None of that is real. But people watch it and people just believe it. Most people don't even watch it. But when you see it, it's the dumbest crap ever. I mean, they always, just on the landing of these vertical rockets, all of a sudden the camera goes out every single friggin' time. Yeah. It's the dumbest crap ever. Okay? And now they're catching them in nets on boats as they fall out of the sky. It's the dumbest thing ever. They're laughing at us. And again, on my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, get the app. It's $2.99. You're buying me a half a beer, a warm beer at that. Okay. And take the app challenge, and like if you're like, wait a minute, I still think NASA has some credibility, hit the what about space agencies button, what about NASA and other space agencies button, and just start watching the videos there. These are videos that YouTube won't, soon they're probably going to ban those videos. I'm expecting that next. You're criticizing NASA, bam, your channel's gone.
Well, this is the danger. I mean, there's quite a lot of alternative news channels out there that have been taken down for various reasons, and
mainly because they're trying to tell the truth.
Well, this is it. I mean, you see, it's hard to kind of have a kind of a voice, and that's unfair. People need to be able to express their own opinions, and yeah, exactly.
So just one more time on my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's by Blue Water Bay is the name, because on Android there's a free app by the same name made by some controlled opposition guys that are trying to divert you and gatekeep you. Like if you get that, you won't learn anything, and then you'll send me an email going, your app sucks, blah 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 blah. Well, don't send me that email because that's not my app. All right, it's nothing. They're just they're trying to copy my app, but they can't do it.
Definitely
the content on my app is.
That's how good the app is that other people are trying to bloody bootleg it. So So what's next for you, David? Are you so you say you've got a busy schedule with other podcasts, interviews and stuff like that coming up?
I've got 27 interviews this week alone. All right. So I'm out there talking to shows, that are willing to hear. And the amazing thing is more people are willing to, they're like, yeah, Flat Earth, I'm in. 5 years ago, you say Flat Earth, you go, get out of here, you nutcase. We're a comedy show. We're not stupid.
That's the same with aliens. Quite a lot of stuff over the last
totally.
5-10 years.
Use the word aliens. Use the word extraterrestrials. And then you'll start transmuting your belief into they're coming from the Earth plane. Guess what? They look like humans. You know why? Because they're on the Earth plane. Well, guess what? They probably speak English.
The Nordics are ones that kind of make me, obviously these this, and that kind of does fall into the Aryan sort of thingy of these kind of blonde-haired, blue-eyed sort of beings. So I think the Nordics do kind of come into that. I think have probably got connections to quite a lot of our Earth mythology, if you like the Thor and Zeus and all that stuff. So that's another day. That's for another day, though, isn't it? So
So again, don't believe anything I say. Remember, belief is the enemy of knowing. I'm just pointing towards some doors, and then
you've had me thinking. You've got me thinking tonight.
You have to be willing to think. And they've convinced us not to think. They convinced us, they can say anything. Like, well, we just discovered, there might be a civilization on the backside of the moon. Well, that's interesting because we can't see there. We can't verify any of it. So we're going to have to believe your nonsense. Yeah. Space doesn't exist. Go out when the moon is full. If I had my app, I could tell you where the moon is. Go out when the moon is full, and you can see it during the day. And actually, it's right on the cusp right now. But when you can see it and look at the moon in the day sky, and ask yourself, is that 238,000 miles away, or is that right within our sky? It's right within. It's everything that we see in the sky is within the Earth system. And
so, how far is the sun and the moon then?
They're not physical. The sun and the moon that we see are more like projections or reflections, and everybody sees it in a place unique to themselves. Like if you and I were looking in a giant mirror with the sun behind us, and we were 20 feet apart looking at that mirror, looking at the sun behind us, we would both see the sun in a different place on that mirror, right? If somebody walked up to the mirror and I said, I see the sun right there, and they put an X with a Sharpie, they'd have to walk 25 feet to the right to where you see the sun, and then the sun's heat will bounce off that mirror and hit your face as strong as the sun that's behind you is hitting you, okay? The mirror will reflect the sun equally as hot as the actual sun, so maybe the sun that we see is already a reflection.
So where's the source in that respect then? Where's the reflective?
So I have videos about that. They're all on the app. If you click on the frequently asked questions, click the eclipses one.
Right, okay.
What about eclipses? It's in there. You can also check out a lot of short videos on my YouTube channel, which is the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH. That's my YouTube channel, DITRH.
Yeah, do check out his YouTube channel and make sure you subscribe, because he's, you know, even just the interactions that you have with the community, which is great. And, you know, you're not just making videos about, you know, pushing a theory and making, you know, see, this is how it is. You kind of interacting with the people, and kind of they like Ruth. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, keep it going, man.
So also, you know, there's flat Earth meetups all over the place, and once you understand that the Earth is flat, there's nothing like finding another flat Earth person you can talk to, because you will isolate some of your friends and family. Like my brother and sister, we never talk about this.
I was going to say,
I really have nothing else to say to them.
But obviously they know that you believe in the flat Earth. I mean, so they never bring it up.
What they know, I don't even know what they know, because they're asleep on everything. They don't believe any conspiracies. So I don't even bother trying to. I tried to wake him up to the spraying of our skies, and my brother just couldn't see it. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
So this is the thing. Some people are just live simple lives. This is the thing, and even if that was the case, they're just not bothered. They're not bothered.
Take the blindfold off.
My job is to say, hey, are you interested? I'll show you the way. If you're not interested, that's fine. Enjoy your spinning cartoon ball.
Well, this is if you're interested in the bigger questions.
Bug.
Yeah. Oh, right. Got it. What's that? Did you not believe in that? Are you an unbeliever?
That there is that it is a sickness. Yeah, it's like the common cold, and you get it and you get over it, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends. I do believe that obviously for most people that's correct, but it's the percentage of people who were in that bracket, with the underlying health conditions, and it's like, unfortunately, if they get it, then it's bad news, isn't it? That's the only reason why I toe the line so much, because, like, obviously for grandparents and elderly relatives and stuff, but it's like that's more so that reason. But
that's a deeper conversation. But I'll just tell you a quick story. Upstate New York here, there's an old age home, about 200 people in it. There was some positive cases, but just positive cases. They weren't sick or anything. And then they all got 80% of them got the vaccine, and a week later there was 24 dead people from corona. Okay, they had 0 deaths. They got the vaccine. A week later, And then look at Hank Aaron. He got the shot, baseball player Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
He got the shot, and a week later, he's dead, right? And the mainstream media is not reporting the connection.
Mexican doctor the other week as well. He died.
This is the thing about,
of nurses.
I'm not
British 100% NHS, 2 nurses.
I'm not 100% on the vaccine just yet, but they're going to make it so that, in terms of travel, if you ever want to go anywhere, you're going to have to have the vaccine, and you'll need a vaccine passport.
You could pay me $1 billion.
So you stay in
I would not take that shot. Fair. So if here's something that people could do. There's the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. If you go onto their website and just download the current reported reactions and deaths, it's horrifying, and that's probably less than 1% of the actual deaths and mutations.
We were covering it so hard when it first emerged, and it got to the point where it was so depressing, even just going on the John Hopkins website or anything like that, because it was just like you say, it was horrifying, the numbers, how they escalated. Well, David, thank you for joining us today on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'd love to have you on again and talk more about the flat Earth theories and
an eye opener.
So, what I will say is two things. One, you're going to get some comments from some of your fans that will just be calling me names and all sorts of stuff, but they won't offer any proof. They'll just make insults and claims without any proof. You'll have other people that they're going to be new to your channel that are just saying, flat Earth is done, it's washed up. Again, nothing, claims. And if you go to their channel, you'll see that they have 0 content on their channel. They're just bots and trolls.
Anybody who's interested should have an opinion on both sides and do your research. We promote on the Never a Straight Answer podcast, going out and doing your research from both sides, and don't just take it from one source. So,
always check your sources.
So, but check out the website.
I'll end my podcast and website by the same name, The Flat Earth Podcast. So if you don't want to get the app, that's fine. Just go listen to the first 10 episodes of the podcast, and you too will lose the respect of your family and friends.
Excellent. We'll do that. And make sure you subscribe to the Flat Earth Podcast.
I'll leave it with this quote, which I like, is you can lead a man to flat water, but you can't make him think rationally about the shape of the earth.
Fair play, man. Well, thank you, David. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Cheers much. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. See ya.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks again, David, for joining us. Really interesting stuff. What do you reckon, Taylor? I think it's one of those, isn't it? Where, I mean, he's great. He's got like a very big passion for what he's talking about. Sometimes you just think, I wish I could have got a bit more of a few more questions in. Or I wish I was a bit more scientific in my, ability to kind of dispute it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's thrown a challenge on,
the challenge there. If you can prove that the globe is indeed spherical and round,
he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Then he'll give you a Bitcoin. But I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? Because
proper believer, man.
Well, but the people out there who say the science is there is science to prove that it is, a globe. Yeah. I mean, I think the science is very well supported and very well known. So I think, what do they kind of take as legitimate proof, if you like?
Well, you can't really take anything these days with the way the media is lying to people or not telling them stuff. The way science can be manipulated.
Of course, I mean, you can package it any way you want to, really, and that's the difference, isn't it?
Grown up, the way you grow up is being manipulated as well. You get set on a certain road, you can't exactly get like the old days. What was it?
I'm not accusing.
You get kicked out of your house and you do what you did. You did what you did.
I mean, I'm not accusing anybody of being misleading or anything, but I mean, it's like we do know for a fact that there is money to be made out of lying and out of kind of pushing a belief that or is unproven or isn't true or whatever. So
I mean, you can tell
this is how cults start and religions start because you're selling an ideal or an idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like this is one of those ones that kind of catches you because it makes you ask questions that you can't really give the answers to. So it's like when a flat earther says to you, "Oh, well, why this and why that?" You've got to kind of go, "Well, I don't really know the answer to that." Yeah. Which does make you think. But that doesn't mean that that's true. I mean, it's just another point of view, which I totally respect at the end of the day. And if you're a good person and you're living your life in a good way, then that shouldn't matter if you fucking believe it's banana shaped for all I care.
Yeah, and if you change your mind and decide to move on a different path to the one that you believe has been set, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Well, I think it takes a lot of guts to come out and say, this is what I believe. If you don't believe it, then fuck you. But this is how I want to live my life. Then that's like I say. So as long as you're living a good life, then who cares?
As long as you're happy, then it doesn't really matter. As long as your family are happy and you're getting along with life, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, there are too many questions. I mean, obviously, you could be going into gravity and geography and
But it seems to bring out the videos and that as well. You know what I mean?
But it's one of those, isn't it? The flat Earth. It's always been. It's a weird one, and like when he was talking about Ruth, who was taught that. Sorry, frog in the throat. Who was taught that over 100 years ago, or just over 100 years ago. I mean, it's not a long time.
No.
And she remembers being taught that in education. So, It's all about how science moves and what you choose to believe, exactly. I suppose, isn't it? So
yeah. Well, think about it. The question's been put out there. You know, if you want to have a look, then this is probably one of the best places to go. Check it out.
Check out David's app. Yeah, I mean, this is it, because I mean, he says that these questions and stuff on there, and I mean, like,
he will try and answer it for you, and like he seems to have the right idea of like, right, well, ask me a question, and I will bring the proof to your table.
Where does all the funding go? I mean, no wonder they've got bitcoins to give away, because I mean, like I say, it must be lucrative, and I don't see him spending the money on expeditions. So, you know.
Well, I was right. 23 grand it is, $31,000, and it was like, and it's been going high and low, but you know, he's willing to put a lot of money on the plate there. So at the end of the day, you know.
We're interested to hear what you guys think at home. If you, I mean, this is it. I mean, Dave was saying that we'll get abuse from like both sides. You know, like at the end of the day, I think people are open-minded, and you know, if they listen to what people have got to say, they'll, you know, they can kind of have a new perspective on things.
Yeah, but, like we've done, we've opened up and listened.
Exactly.
And like tried
so
to
I mean, I don't want to hear. I mean, you give us your negative comments, but I mean, I'm not really bothered about that. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to be a bit of both-sided. So you know what I mean. And this is what I think, like where David was kind of trying to assure us, but it was like, I think that there you switch from a very kind of like standoffish perspective and not having people kind of go, well, go on then, tell us your point of view, I'll take it on board for this and try and understand you.
It's going to be definitely difficult for anyone.
Whereas most people just go, for poo-poo, I don't really believe it, or kind of listen, but in a patronising sort of way anyway.
It was only 100 years ago when if someone come out with a subject like this, would be thrown in a nut house. Because they put you in as the same as, he thinks he's Napoleon.
They were teaching in school 100 years ago. They were I'm Abraham Lincoln. Like, you know, it's like...
Well, they weren't even teaching in school.
They were teaching the flat earth 100 years ago by the sounds of it. So it's like, if they were doing it 100 years ago, then you'd be going, oh, the earth's round. They'd be going, put him in the nut house.
Yeah, this is it. But now we've come to a part in our civilization where we can actually open up and discuss
the information's readily available.
I think
that's the difference. I
mean, because everyone thinks differently. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their observant of seeing how their life's gone through. Then everyone's life is different. You know what I mean? And if you can pass the information on that helps someone else later on, or even today, then you know you're a benefact for the humanity.
Well, there you go. It's the passing of the torch and knowledge. So let us know what you guys think at home on the whole flat earth thing, good or bad. Moving on, we've got some news, I do believe.
We do.
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll move on to that right about now. It's a news. Oh yeah, we've scoured the interweb, looked high and low. We've looked high and low,
definitely low,
for the news of the week, and we found it. We found loads of actual, really kind of interesting stuff.
Well, I was just actually shocked on a news story that you passed to me.
Which one was that?
Horrified half rat.
Did you see that? What did you think? What do you think it is? Now let me just find the story, because I've got it lost here somewhere. Here we go. Right, so horrifying half rat, half worm-like creature that was filmed crawling up some bloke's bedroom wall.
It looks like a piece of shit.
That's what I said.
It really does look like a piece of shit.
It actually does look like this. So this man was left with goosebumps when he spotted a bizarre slug-like creature along his wall, crawling up his bedroom wall, basically. There is a clip. The mysterious animal climbs up the wall. It's basically like looked like it had a squishy body. Where was it? In Thailand.
See, now that
so
you know what?
The creature turned out to be a rat-tailed maggot.
Oh.
Which turns into basically a hoover fly or a hoverfly.
All right.
Yeah, it's not very nice,
massive,
though, is it?
It's a big thing. That's going to be a big fly.
Yeah, definitely. But, like, do you know what I mean? When you see these things, I mean, really, when that's in your house as well. I mean, you know how fucking people react in the UK when they see a spider. Yeah, up on chairs and all sorts. Go on.
Woman in Australia looked in the corner of her room one morning. Pictures out there, shitloads of spiders. It was like horrifying. Like, what the fuck is that? It was like an orgy of spiders.
Well, the problem is, it's like once you get a little nest and then they all hatch. You
spiders
fucked,
don't generally
got to get
nest
fumigation in. Oh, I don't know. I've done some gardening jobs where it's like you've been out in the back garden and you've disturbed
ones,
like a little nest, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, ew.
Yeah, because of the thousands of babies at one time.
It's the same thing, isn't it? But you not think tarantulas and poisonous big spiders don't do exactly the same thing as the little ones do in nesting? They find a nest and lay eggs.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden you're in the scene from fucking Arachnophobia.
These look fully grown.
Oh, you're giving me the heebie-jeebies, brother.
It's like little big black dots in the corner. It was like, what the fuck are them?
You know, where was that? In Australia?
Yeah,
well, they say everything can kill you in Australia.
Well,
virtually.
Yeah, about 90% of stuff.
Yeah, none of that. I'd love to go, but I mean, obviously, it'll be a place that I'd love to go, but it's one of those where it's like, as long as I'm in a resort where there's, and they kept it well fumigated, that's all right with me.
Well, you do your own thing, wouldn't you? You'd have your own system of like, you just got to be eyes open, man. You know what I mean? Don't walk around with your flip-flops.
Now, you see, this is it, though. When I've been abroad and I've seen stuff like lizards, my first reaction is, got to go and pick one up. And like, oh, there's a lizard.
Yeah, they really like that, don't they? Yeah, I was walking along trying to look for some food and some fucker come and pick me up.
Well, this is it, you see. But, I mean, I found this story actually talking about animals because, you could argue that obviously messing around with wild animals is, a fucking not recommended yet, but this guy, he was a 54-year-old man, has been taken to hospital after being bitten in the face by a camel.
This fuck, yeah.
So, when this was in an enclosure, so even domesticated-ish animals, you've got to be a bit careful.
Yeah. So, but then it could all come down to abuse on that as well. You don't know how the animal's been treated, and it might be fighting.
Oh, yeah, of course. Back. Yeah, so, if it's been spooked. I think this was an employee at the Perleberg Zoo in North Germany, between Berlin and Hamburg. Basically, the camel was in an enclosure and they were feeding the animals when it turned suddenly and bit him.
Right.
So the police said they described his injuries as serious and said that the man's he didn't want to be named. He'd been taken to a local hospital, but the zoo is closed due to COVID anyway. So. He was there just doing his normal duties, I think.
Well,
could have been a lot worse. I mean, like in terms of imagine if it was a full zoo and there's a load of kiddies about, and next minute you've got this guy, one of the trainers, just got bitten in the face.
But it still could be worse for the camel. They could still decide, right, well, you've turned around and done that. We're going to put you down.
Oh, don't say that.
Might have done it for its own protection and effect. Like you said,
depends what's wrong. It might be
it depends how it was actually done. Yeah. So, but I can see people questioning, well, is this animal going to be put down or not now?
Yeah, true.
Because it has actually turned around and hurt someone that was looking after. But it's animal instincts. You've got to
spit at people all the time, and no one says anything about that, do they? Have you got anything you want to talk about? Anything you found in the news this week? I've got a couple of stories, quite a lot actually.
Yeah, I've got some sad news.
Go on.
Not really sad, but sad news.
Hang on, wait a minute. What?
Captain Sir Tom is in hospital with COVID.
Jesus, no, you should have said that. Don't be doing, finger. Captain Tom.
It's not that bad. It's bad for
him. Yeah, well, anything, if, you tell me Captain Tom's in hospital, then I start, as anyone would go, what? So is he all right?
Yeah. He's in there being observed. Nothing serious has come out of it up to now, but with his age in that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, obviously the guy's an absolute legend, but he's not like bloody,
No, he's not on death's door yet. No.
Well, hopefully he makes a full recovery.
He's a fighter.
Of course,
so
exactly.
He ain't going to let COVID kick its ass.
Oh, bless you, mate. Well, hopefully you make a full recovery, Captain Tom, and you're out there doing your stuff ASAP. Honestly, the guy's an absolute legend. Do you know what I mean?
Man.
What?
The guy's a miracle, man.
He is, isn't he? Yeah.
The amount of money he raised, he's been to war. He's gone all the way through.
Well, he's a knight now. Is he a knight or?
He's a sir,
he's a sir.
I think yeah, definitely sir.
Yeah.
So
Sir Captain Tom.
Tom.
Up there with do you know what? Is he probably one of the only for a long time one of the only sirs or knights or whatever, you know, when they've had an OBE that hasn't gone to a celebrity for some reason. It's actually gone to a service person. Do you know what I mean?
Someone who very well deserves.
I don't know if that's true, but it does seem to be Paul McCartney and people like that, Bono, you know, who get OBEs. It's never like, you know, Captain Tom's a fucking legend for all the right reasons. You know what I mean?
I think he's been given the highest honour. I think he got awarded.
Good man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's well deserved. I think it's the Victoria, not Victoria Cross, Victoria Summit, I think it's called.
He should have been made the king. That's what I'm saying. Do you know what they were saying? The Queen's like, I'm going to abdicate. Captain Tom, you take over, making you the king.
Well, yeah, but then you got Charles there, innit? What do you think he's going to do?
Well, you know, but do you know what? That'd be mint, because it'd just go like, look,
Philip will have him knocked off.
Charles, look, it's Captain Tom, right? I know he's getting on a bit, so, but it's the guy's lifelong, you know, let's make him king for a few weeks, months, years. Yeah,
but I think that'd be more pressure to him than he needs.
Look, I don't want to go down. Listen, naysayer. I don't want to go down all the whys and wherefores. Yeah, he should be made king. End of. Yeah, right. Stop fucking pulling it apart.
Let the man rest now. Yeah. He's done his duty.
Ceremonial position only. Yeah, right. Just in name only. Yeah, you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, but just leave it.
I think the man needs to sit down, have a brew, have a biscuit, and watch Countdown.
Fair
play. What I mean? I think the guy needs.
I've got big plans for Tom.
Time.
I've got a big, serious. You're going to send him into Afghanistan, sort that out. You know what I mean? All that stuff.
Yeah, put him as an MP. Yeah, I think Tom would
vote for Tom.
House of Lords, I would
Supreme Justice.
I'd let him in this.
King
House
of
of
the universe. Right. Anyway, stop this now. Right.
Yeah. Ridiculous. I found it's Galaxy
and Cosmos.
I
was looking. We've covered. This is scandalous, right? I found this story, right, and it is scandalous. I've got to say, because
why?
Well, we've covered Subway before, right? A while back.
Yes.
Now, Subway were done a few years ago for. They were making bread with basically ingredients that you'd find in a yoga mat, right? And they were done for it, and they were told they've got to stop doing that sort of thing. Yeah, right. Disguising things as other things for cost-effective reasons or whatever. So this story's come out. Subway has been done now for their tuna. Apparently, Subway's tuna is not tuna.
What is it?
It's a mixture of various concoctions.
Rubber mats and condoms.
Yeah, all sorts of shit, basically. Yeah.
The fuck?
It depends.
They've been caught once. They've done it again twice. They should be shut down.
Well, this is how they describe. This is how they describe their tuna sub, right? So Subway describes its tuna sandwich as freshly baked bread layered with tuna flakes blended in a creamy mayo and then topped with a choice of crispy veg.
False advertising.
Right? That's the fiction of it. Yeah, right. The reality of it is it's nothing it's nothing of the sort. I mean, I'm trying to find you what it is actually made of, because it's just like, it probably is made of yoga mats as well, to be honest. They can't even identify some of the components by the sounds of it.
That's even worse.
I know, yeah. So, you know, I personally don't eat there.
I don't.
This is in the States as well, so I mean, I can't say that this is globally. Yeah, but it's business practices, isn't it? I mean, McDonald's try and keep a standard, and so would, I assume, Subway.
But then the company should be more stringent, and it's one of them, innit? You can't really shut down all the ones that ain't been doing this and they've been playing the cards right. But the headquarters has been like being the wrong uns. But there should be some massive penalty, not like a small one. They've had a penalty and they've gone, well, you know what, fuck it, we'll do it again. We won't get caught. And now they've been caught again. They should be double, triple their fucking profit penalty or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that's going to hurt them, but not hurt the individual financial companies that are joint to them. They should be properly damaged for it. But then again, it's going to affect every other fucking lane, to be honest.
Well, this is it. According to the Subway's nutritional information page on its website, the tuna salad for its sandwiches contains flake tuna in brine, mayonnaise, and basically says product flavour. The spokesman for Subway said nutritional information is up to date, and tuna is one of the most popular sandwiches. Their restaurants receive pure tuna, mix it up with mayonnaise, and serve it freshly made to their guests. But where would these claims come from? Obviously, they've done tests on what they've
they must
sold.
Have gone out.
I mean, this story is in the Washington Post. So check it out, see what you think. But like I say, they've been done for this before. And obviously they've been done for stuff like selling a foot long Subway that wasn't a foot long, yoga mats in the bread.
So this could be the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
This is it's getting to beyond a joke, to where the point that I'm trying to make is that you're being sold convenience. Yeah, right. You're being sold convenience food that is probably taking 10 years off your life, and it might taste really tasty, but it's not doing you any favours, is it? I mean, it's all fucking chemical bullshit. It's stuff you wouldn't give to the dogs. So
making money go round.
But it was marketed as a healthy alternative to fast food, and it turns out these guys are probably one of the worst. So
it's always the way, though. It's always the way. Well, it's too good to be true. It's not fucking true.
There you go. Have you seen anything else that you wanted to talk about? I've got this brilliant story that I saw. But you crack on. I want you to.
All right. What about funny story? Mystery gingerbread monolith appears in San Francisco hillside.
Yeah, this is brilliant. Yeah, see, do you know what though? It's a bit Hansel and Gretel, isn't it? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like,
come here, I'm going to try and lure some conspiracy theorists up into the hills.
It's even got like fucking sweets on there and
That's it. That's amazing.
It looks like, like a sweetie. It's Hansel and Gretel's sweet
to try
house.
and make it look a bit kind of like fucking German, like a German sweet. I get where you're coming from. I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about, the monoliths that have been appearing on hillsides and outside places for the last few months, I think someone's taken it to a new level and built a gingerbread monolith. I mean,
this happened.
How
Christmas
big is
Day
it?
They found it.
That's awesome.
Someone was running
and they
past.
found it on Christmas Day.
Yeah, and they found it. And
what a Christmas miracle!
7-foot Christmas monolith. All right, I'll take a photo of that, and then people just come along and it's like, oh my god,
ate it.
Yeah, and you know what? I would not be surprised.
And they were like, "Where's the monolith?" When the papers arrived, it was very nice.
Squirrels,
really nice.
That'll go for it as well.
I don't know. It's gone.
Yeah. It's going to have to be. Yeah, it'd be.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Christmas gingerbread monolith.
Yeah.
Whatever will he
monolith
think of
central,
next?
Isn't it? In a moment.
I love the idea though. I mean, I think what do you think the next one's going to be, and where do you think it's going to turn up? We could play monolith.
Chocolate cake monolith.
A Ben and Jerry's monolith.
Whipped cream monolith.
Why are we going for pure dessert items here?
Biscuit monolith.
Well, a custard cream.
Custard cream,
a bourbon monolith.
Perfect,
That is actually the perfect monolith biscuit, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can think of another monolithic biscuit, then let us know. Pink wafer would also be a good monolithic biscuit.
Yeah, and it'd be a good signal as well, be pink.
Big and pink.
Yeah, you can't miss it in the woods.
It's just a bit
Look at that over there, look at that pink thing there.
You could argue they're a bit tasteless. But
oh yeah. But if you found one in the backyard or around your area, would you go and have a little nibble?
A pink wave? No, because it's 2-second rule in it. It's on the floor.
So yeah, but you could
nibble off the top.
You could take a chunk out of it and nibble inside.
You could do. You
don't necessarily have to have the outer coating. You could.
That's true.
Coat it blue or something, and on. Right, I can have whatever's not blue. I'm fucking eating.
So do you know what I mean? It is something I found. Do you know in Virginia? Yeah, there's a wild.
Virginia. I know. Oh well.
Oh, Virginia. Oh, you're putting me off now, right? In Virginia, yeah, there's a wildlife centre, and this is a brilliant idea. Yeah, right. I thought it was pretty. Thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So. This wildlife centre is allowing donators, so if you donate to the centre, you'll be able to name an insect, after your ex, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and on Valentine's Day, they'll feed it to another animal.
Watch it get munched.
And you can watch it get munched.
Oh, that's
what do you reckon to that?
Sounds like a dream date to me.
Dream
divorce?
I think it's a bit of a
it's a gimmick, but it's a funny gimmick, innit? You know what I mean?
Of course it is. Well, it's not even that much of a donation either, to be honest. For $2 donation, you can name a wheelworm, a beetle, a superworm, or a waxworm after your worm.
Hey, I suppose it's a good way of teaching kids nature.
True, and say this is what Mummy's going to do to Daddy if he doesn't wash the car.
Yeah, that's it. Take the fucking bins out again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. I think, and obviously, it's
a good gimmick,
I think a lot. This is it. There's a lot of single people over Valentine's Day as well, where they're like,
and is this a zoo? Did you say
Day. It's a wildlife centre?
Yeah,
so they've got other animals they need to feed, haven't they?
Yeah,
bigger
exactly.
animals
so, and they're closed at the moment. So it's a good way of bringing income and plus entertainment plus education.
You can get a night crawler. A hornworm or a night crawler for $5, and obviously Nightcrawler is an X-Men character. So if your ex-boyfriend's a bit of an X-Men fan,
good thinking.
You get that and call it Jeff or whatever your ex is called.
The bastard. That's I'm calling him the bastard.
That twat.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Ideal? There was that show with Johnny Vegas. Yeah. It was so good. But there was a nurse in that, and she used to she'd be whenever she entered the room, she'd be always screaming down the phone like "You fucking twat" and all the rest of it. And then she'd come off the phone and go, "It was me ex." But it's like, we can gather that. Anyway, moving on. Anything else you wanted to talking about this week? I've got a story. I'll save that for NASA news a bit later.
Okay, I've got one for Britain and Scotland and Wales.
Go on.
Which is we've all been basically given the yellow weather warning, thunderstorms and shit.
We've just had mate. I'm not even joking, right? Yeah, we had bad weather the other week, and when we were talking earlier about what we done this week, totally failed to mention, there was people's houses were falling down in the UK because it was so bloody windy and rainy.
Windy overnight.
I don't even know what the storm was called. What was the storm called?
Don't know. There's that many coming now. I get the names.
So this storm's coming. Yeah. And I've got water coming in the house, and I've got buckets and pans down, and I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. And the house is an old house. When a lorry goes past, it rattles and rumbles. Yeah. So I was like, the house is gonna fall down.
Place is ready to drop, boy.
So don't. So the weather warnings. There's going to be more of this, is there? Go on, give us the bad news.
Could be worse. In Scotland, the thunderstorms were that loud that people were phoning police, and the police were coming out thinking there was explosions going on.
Really?
Yeah, it was that bad.
Bloody hell.
So we look forward, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some more of that if you're in Britain.
Well, you can always stay home and
America,
just listen.
you're probably nice and sweet.
Just listen to us, eh? Just stay at home and listen to us.
Well, we're not allowed out anyway, you know what I mean? It'd be martial law soon.
Why? Why would you say that?
Well, the way it's going, the next one would be martial law. because the first lockdown, everyone was roughly taking it seriously. The next one, not so seriously. And this one, we're on the lockdown and there's people driving around, walking around, communicating together, and it's like you don't know we're on the lockdown.
Yeah,
even though at the minute
actually,
the numbers are going down.
Oh yeah, but it's only because we're in a lockdown.
Go up again.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're in a lockdown. I wanted to just, seeing as though you were just talking about the weather then in the UK, I want to just give a little bit of a shout out to it's Melissa Grace. She basically she put out Melissa's weather report over on Twitter, and she's basically she's trying to raise awareness for Angelman syndrome, and she's been putting out this weather report where she puts smiley faces all over the UK map. And she's trying to raise awareness, like I say. So she's made me smile today with us putting her smiles on her map, for her weather report. So cheers. I just wanted to give her a bit of shout out. So
yeah, well deserved. Yeah,
excellent.
Definitely.
What else? We've got actually quite a lot of news coming up. So I thought you'd appreciate this one.
Okay.
Talking about Corona and stuff earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, this one's. Do you know we were talking a couple of weeks ago about crossing the borders due to kind of new legislations, due to Brexit and stuff like that, or Brexit. Check this one. I mean, I don't know if this is actually anything to do with the Brexit changeover or whatever. Because I suppose not, because they're off to China. But 4 men ate 30 kilograms of oranges to avoid paying the extra baggage fees at the airport. Why wouldn't you just throw them away?
Well, that's a waste of money. That's a waste of fruit.
Well, they were there for about a record 30 minutes. Like, just you know what?
I would have hated the toilet in the next day. Oh, that must be liquid.
Yeah, totally. Because he was a story. I mean, obviously, every ones have a story where they go the old fruit bowl. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, the thing is, it makes me think: was there something else in the oranges? Do you know what I mean? That they were so adamant. Yeah, maybe that they were trying.
So they swallowed the drugs as well.
Yeah, it was boxes of them weighed 30 kilograms, 50 of them, 50 oranges apparently. Like, I mean, I know that's fucking, not willing to pay 10 yen for each kilogram.
Well, yeah, I would eat them as well if I'm spending 10 yen for a kilogram.
Well, it's 10 yen they have to pay for the shipping fees each kilogram. So, when they've got 30 kilograms.
Fucking eat them. I think they did the right thing. They bought them, they ate them.
Well,
done.
Really?
That's what they were going to do.
So, all right, then. So, it is that kind of toss-up, isn't it, between you've bought something, right? You don't want to waste it, but they're telling that you've got to get rid of it. Is it going to be worth the shits you're going to have to face tomorrow? Yes. Right? Just to prove your point. What?
Yes, because you're sticking it to the man, that's why.
I think people should be a bit more fucking... what's it? Do you know what?
I understand the weight thing in that, but why would you have to pay... why does it always come down to money to stop people from doing stuff instead of turning around and going, don't do that?
Well, in a similar incident...
It always comes down to money. Always.
A woman faked a pregnancy to avoid paying extra baggage fees in an Australian airport. She created a fake baby bump with extra clothing and a laptop charger. Mate. Stick
it to the man, because the man's always sticking it to you. You've got to stick it to him back here and there.
It's
where
just
you can.
No. Basically, what she's done there is she's just shoved a load of stuff up a bump and then tied it up so it was like under a top.
Cocaine, heroin.
Well, no. She's
Swede.
The end of the day, right? You go on holiday, you've got to kind of weigh your baggage, So, like, if it's over the certain baggage, then they won't let you take it on the plane, right? Or they make you pay extra. So
she's
done that basically
you put extra clothes on.
But that's what she's doing. She's faked a baby bump by putting extra clothes up her jumper and tying it up with the charger, stuff that she couldn't fit in a bag. Do you know what I mean? And she's got away with it by not paying the baggage. So, the point being, they've been told that they're going to get charged for eating all these oranges. Yeah, right. No, we're not. Yeah, exactly, because they've still transported them and the weight is still on them. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but they've still managed to get on the plane and avoid paying the charge. So, fair play to him in that respect.
You don't charge a fat man to a thin man, do you?
Well, no, you don't actually. That's
so
true.
That extra baggage bullshit is to earn extra revenue. That is really all it is.
Well,
I do understand that there's only a certain amount of weight you can put in there, but a lot of it is to do. We're going to get some more money.
Have you got any more news? Because I've got a couple more stories before we move on to
NASA now, mate.
Right. Well, I've got.
Unless we talk about Europe.
Here's to Chinese. I wouldn't want to be going from a Chinese coronavirus test after eating all my oranges. Anyway, China's just rolled out a new test. This one is an anal swab for coronavirus, and they said it's more accurate than the throat method.
That's bollocks.
No, it's actually arsehole. That's what they're going for.
That's bollocks.
No, it's true.
No, I mean the arsehole having the better taste, but about having the best.
Well, the thing is,
the symptoms.
in China they do mandatory testing, so the people of China have basically been forced into testing a lot of the time. But now, obviously, they've got this new test. It's like that's a bit evasive, isn't it? It's like bend over. Are you going to get take a butt swab?
Yeah, not only that, it depends when you've actually received the actual illness to when you take your next shit.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people saying that it's a step too far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's bang out of order, but that's the Chinese for you. You know what I mean? The government, not the people.
And I think 80% of people have responded that they could not or will not accept that sort of evasive method.
Slap them in the face.
I think this is the thing, isn't it? If it's been that sort of crazy in China where they've been like dragging people out if they've got it, and they've we've seen videos where they've been dragged out into the streets, or been herd tested or whatever, and it's like, well, if this is a quicker, faster method, then that's the one they're going to want to use, and then if they're adopting using those tactics and in hand with this new test. Whoa, you can't be doing that. Yeah, it's like, what are you going to do? Pull people's pants down and test them?
Yeah, it shows your ass, son, or you're not coming in.
It's too much, isn't it?
It's like, fuck off, mate.
Jesus.
And does the results happen straight away, or do they have to go off and get them tested and then come back and go, oh, yeah?
Well, no, apparently it'll be a quicker test and more accurate, but even Chinese doctors who support the new test said the method's very inconvenient. And says it's intrusive. Yeah, so it's not ideal, is it?
Not ideal. I don't think I'm going to go there for my fucking swab anyway.
Oh, well, it's just not anal swabbing.
People, mate.
A bit of anal swabs.
A bit of anal swabs for fucking hell.
What do you reckon, peeps at home? I mean, do you think there's some
people
who they go for the rectal thermometers and stuff? They find it a better.
But that's because probably they can't shove it down the throat because of other elements or some other things. Or, like, that's the best results, where they can get the best results.
Well, that's what these are saying. They're saying that, obviously, they can get a better result from...
Can't get a better result until at the back of the throat. The back of the throat is the best place. Because that's where it goes into.
I suppose it could be, like, contaminated with... No, because they do get false positives... as well as false negatives. So it could be contaminated with anything else, do you know what I mean? But I suppose it is a more of a...
See, there'd be people out there who haven't even got it, and yet they've
plus, as well, another way to say that it'd be a more positive, it's already gone through your system. It's not hanging around in your throat and not got any further or whatever. It's a case of that it's gone through your body, so they'd be able to say definitely. Yeah, well, if it's been in your arsehole, then I think they'll say you've 100% got it because it's gone through your whole body to get there. Do you know what I mean?
But then that takes time, and that takes the next time you have a shit. If you're a regular person, well, a couple hours, fair enough. But if you're not, and
most
you take it one dump every 2 days, you know what I mean? You've had it in your system 3 days already.
You need to eat more. You need to eat more, sir. Tell you that much. Anyway, well again, I think personally, I think if it's been through your system, then I think it's more of an accurate impression of whether you've got the COVID or not. the end of the day,
the back of the throat, you can catch more other.
Oh no, I totally agree
well.
with you. I'd prefer if they gave me the choice and said, we've got two. Well, calm down. I'm saying if they gave me the choice, I'd be definitely going for the throat option. Do you know what I mean? I'd say, I'll take my risk with the how accurate it is or not. So moving on.
Yes.
So what are you saying? NASA news.
NASA, I've just got 2 NASA news now.
Well, go on then.
Yeah? You want me to go with one? Right, okay. Delay. There is a delay.
There's been a few delays on the old... is this a SpaceX stuff? Because I know they've been doing launches for satellites.
Actual NASA has put in a delay for the plans to land on the moon by 2024 because Trump's administration set a deadline, for certain things to be done. So the delay has been put from Biden's team because they want to check. I think it comes down to mainly money because the end of last year, loads of firms like SpaceX, Lockheed, and all them ones who are dealing with the space projects had been given £967 million pounds from NASA to set this program out. But it looks like it's going to be about a 2-month delay up to now, which will delay other stuff, which means that deadline might not actually reach. We might be a little bit over it, or it actually, because the way of getting into space and stuff like that and the weather, it might even take a lot longer. It all depends on a lot of issues now if we're going to get there by that time.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So, right.
Which was a bit of a bummer, but it should...
Well, we'll see it. Well,
they'll
still be doing it. I mean, this is the thing. It's like
let's see what Biden does, though. I don't know.
They keep. It's not all down to Biden, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? It's just like they're getting the feelers for what's going on, and obviously with Space Force, there's a lot of things that Trump put in that Biden's having a look at. Yeah. Now, it could be that and I'm not saying it is, but could be there's a reason why Space Force exists and it's another funnel for something dodgy or potentially, who knows. Yeah. You don't know. So they need to investigate a lot of stuff and check a lot of stuff out. I'd say give them time to reschedule everything and they'll be back on, especially with all the COVID shit that's going on as well. They must be kind of hard
they're going to be delayed,
of course,
in
terms of equipment being stuff being delivered, logistical stuff. It's a whole mess of stuff going on.
And they've still got to deal with the practices that they're still doing now with the satellites, with the rovers, the ISS.
Of course, they've got a lot of stuff.
All the stuff they do on Earth.
Well, I found this story. It won't be long before we find alien life, according to former Ministry of Defence UFO investigator Nick Pope.
Yeah.
He said it's only a matter of time before we find alien life or it finds us, if it hasn't already. According to the Daily Star, the former MOD worker revealed that there was a wave of sightings over a 6-hour period in late March 1993, and several dozen witnesses in different parts of the country saw that. Many of the witnesses were police officers and military personnel who saw a huge triangular-shaped craft emit a low-frequency humming sound. 2 military bases in the Midlands, RAF Cosford and RAF Shrewsbury, were detecting detectly on the overflow. No definitive explanation was ever given or found for the and never investigated, or they say it was never investigated. Pope's got a lot of kind of credibility in the industry, and I think he's got a book out at the moment, Inside the Stories of the World's Best-Selling Documented UFO Encounters, Encounters in Rendlesham Forest.
Yes, he's the British X-File man. Basically,
he's like sexy Fox Mulder, isn't he?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I respect the guy, man, because of the stuff that he's come out with, and like I've been a fan of his for years, ever since he come out and read these books and bringing out the information. It's like, it's good.
Nick Pope also went on to say he doesn't think people are telling the full story about about incidents like Menwith Hill and Menwith Hill, Rendlesham Forest. He said earlier this month there was a treasure trove of CIA files about UFO sightings across the globe that were published online, known as the Black Vault. There's been kind of stuff. If you want to check out the Black Vault website, you can find all the
really
declassified stuff there.
Really good place.
What do you reckon? Obviously, I think that you see, this is it. Brian actually got in touch with us last week when we actually mentioned that Israeli colonel who came forward and said that he had been involved with UFO investigations with the Israeli space program. Now, apparently, I mean, Brian's got in touch. I mean, I've not really checked it out, so I don't know how 100% this is, but he says that it's not legit, that, and it was the guy got the information off his granddaughter who Googled it, and
it's supposed to have come from a paper, a news report,
something
and it
like
got
that.
changed into English because it was Jerusalem speak.
So who knows? I mean, it could be like, why would he come out and start piping a load of bullshit?
Because he'd finished his career there now. He'd had his 30 years.
But that's what I'm saying. If he's finished his career and it was true, then fair enough. But why
hasn't he come out and denied it?
No, why has he come? Why? Well, this is it. Why?
You know what I mean?
The thing is, there's always going to be people who say it's rubbish. Don't listen to him. Yeah, right.
Of course. Yeah,
but it's. Again, it's like the flat Earth stuff. It's like it's a matter of opinion and making that decision. So you could believe it's true, you might not believe it's true. If you do the research, you can come up to your own conclusions, I'm sure. I'm going to I will look into it because, like I say, Bry has pointed out to me that it was a bit of a ruse. So let's have a look into it. Oh, I'd love Nick Pope on the show.
Yeah. I tried to get hold of him. He did contact me back and said he was too busy and he wasn't doing shows at the minute. So I think he was finishing his book. So
bless him,
he might have time now. I did tell him he could come on at any time. Just give us a contact and straight on it, mate.
Well, there you go.
So if you're out there listening to us,
I've got one more space story. Have you got any more?
I've got one more.
Right, you go for it, because I've got one last one after this, and then we should move on, because we've got some promos and some shout-outs to do.
Oh, yes. Two teenagers, aged 16 and 18, hit the jackpot when using NASA's test satellites, which is for exoplanet survey satellites, which you can go on and...
so they're like kind of like, what's the word? Amateur, like public domain. You can get on a satellite.
Yeah, well, I think they take the pictures and you can have a look through them. And if you spot anything, you can turn around and say anything.
I had to go with this thing. I had to go with this Mars rover years ago, where you could book a bit of an appointment on it and take photos. Yeah.
Well, this is what these have done for a school project, and they've actually found four planets near our closest sun, which is TO11233, which the actual star itself is HD 108236. It's 200 light years away, and we already know there is an exoplanet around that area, but now it looks like there's a possibility that these other four could be exoplanets, which means NASA's
more life, baby. That's what it means. Well, it's going to be pure, it's going to be like a party planet and like a Coca-Cola planet, McDonald's.
Looks like now that NASA's going to send their new satellite, their James Webb Space Telescope, to that region, because
just to have
it looks like it's a really good area for observing to see if
think
any
about
life
it, right?
is there.
If you've got like four quite reasonably close planets and they're all like exoplanets, then that's like a little bit of a neighbourhood, then, isn't it? You can get a few colonies going. Link them up.
But they didn't know there was four planets, but these kids have found these extra four. And it's like, boom, you miss that, and that. So,
good lads. That's all you can say. Do you know what?
Actually, it was ladies.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
good on you, ladies.
Yeah.
You see, this is interesting, because do you know some of the most important discoveries in terms of astronomy were discovered by women, And they never really get the credit for it. They were always published in somebody else's name.
His name, is generally the fella who's working.
Yeah, so you know, big round of applause for the ladies of astronomy.
Yeah. Want more of it? Which there is a lot more.
There's definitely a lot more to be seen up in the night sky.
Yeah,
for sure.
We've got two booming scientists there who could do something for us in the future, hopefully.
Right, well, I've got one more news story before we move on for your next clue in the Chain Connections game. I hope you've been paying attention, guys. Yes. Well, you've not. We've had one clue so far, so this is the second clue. But this story that I spotted, talking about market employees, I mean, obviously Tesla did it, but, I mean, what foodstuffs have you known to be sent up into space?
Chocolate, ice cream.
Yeah, but that's all
sandwich.
Like, isn't that all type of stuff that's like, going up there for sustenance on the ISS or whatever?
What do you mean?
Like I say, Tesla did it. He sent his car up into, Elon Musk sent his car, a Tesla, up into space.
Yeah.
As a market employee. This is what I'm talking about. Now, one food company have done it. Haggis.
Oh, yes.
Haggis have actually launched a packet of haggis into space. Well, to the edge of space, just in the low Earth orbit. But, so the edge of space is impressive, mate. Some of the photos are brilliant. So the Scottish butcher Simon Howe worked with space educator and researching firm Stratonauts to launch a 454-gram haggis into space. The haggis was attached to a weather balloon that soared more than 20 miles, or 107,293 feet above the Earth. And
I can see this being
nearly
new craze.
4 times higher than Everest. I've seen people flying stuff on weather balloons up into space. We could do it. Yeah. Mate,
you're going to get more big companies doing it.
If we can get a lot, if people want to help us fund this, on Patreon or on
please do
on buy us a coffee, we will send stuff into space. I swear to God, we will do that. Yeah.
You get the funding.
GoPro into space. Yeah, we will prove the Earth is not flat. Yeah. Well,
you gave us a funding to Atlantis. We'll go there as well.
So, Mr. Howie said he wanted to start the year by lifting up the spirits of the general public, and was thrilled to work with the Stratonauts to take Scotland's national dish to new heights, to celebrate Burns Night. So, one of the most important dates on the food calendar. They wanted to mark the occasion and send up the 454-gram haggis to the edge of space. I think that's brilliant. The photos are great as well. Because you never see a haggis.
What I want to know.
I'm more worried about what happens when it plummets.
Falls back to Earth.
And hits some poor sod in the head at critical mass.
Not even that, is it? And on the dangerous side of bringing microbes, even if it comes down slower, it could bring even dangerous microbes.
What happens if it lands in a non-EU country?
Oh, there'll be war over it.
Oh, the haggis wars. Haggis wars.
If it lands in England, they're kicking off on the Scotland border.
Fucking, if it hits an Englishman, that's an act of war.
Or if it lands in the Queen's Palace, right in front of a lap where she was having dinner and she ate it.
On a Wednesday.
Yeah.
While she was watching Corrie.
And then bragged about it.
Yeah. There you go. Well, with further ado, what's your next clue? Mr. T. Oh, I rhymed it.
I like that. My next clue is famous person.
Right.
Been around the world.
A famous person. He's been around the world.
Yeah.
Who has been around the world, or he has been around the world?
He has been around the world.
Oh, he's a famous person that's been around the world. That's a clue.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it is.
Well, we've got, as always, a featured, and we've got 2 featured things today because I do want to talk another featured thing. But our first featured item is a featured podcast. As usual, we usually have a featured podcast, and this week's no exception. This week's featured is the Cold Callers Comedy Podcast. basically can join the lads for interviews, special guests, including performers from TV and stage. Really interesting, really cool, really funny. They put out some really good parody stuff. You want to check them out. Really good content. They're called the Cold Callers Comedy Podcast, and they're available on all podcast platforms. We've got a promo. Here it is.
Yeah. So I've been asked to do some promo for these two lads, Ryan and Paul, for their podcast, Cold Callers Comedy. Quite honestly, I've never listened to it because it sounds like shit. But what I can tell you is that my show, Ardy's Hardest Stats, is one of the segments, and that is an absolute peaky blinder you can't miss out on.
Whoa, what the hell, Tom?
You meant to promote our show, not slag it off. I couldn't care less, mate.
Well, you should. You're on the podcast.
Yeah, how about a little gratitude? Rain, show them how grateful we are.
Your precious podcast. Gratefully accepted.
We're not giving it to you.
Admirable. What a mistake.
So yeah, listen to my show Cold Callers Comedy on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon and all the other podcast platforms.
The podcast rises. Come here.
Thanks a lot, guys, for that. So if you can check out their podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Also, we want to give a big shout out to a new podcast player that's available called Chapelo Pod. It's available on iOS even, and the Play Store for Android. It's a new player where you can listen to all your favourite podcasts.
Go and have a look.
It's
Check
called Chapelo Pod, CEPHALO Pod. You'll be able to find it in the Google Play Store and on iTunes. We're on there, so there's an excuse to go and get it. And it's a really, really nice little player, so check it out. So we've got another clue, have we not there, Taylor, sir?
Oh, we have.
Well, go on then.
The next clue is his vehicle went to space 2018.
Oh, okay. I think I might have an idea of this, but I could be wrong. Because I was talking about red herrings earlier. You might have actually thrown one in, but we'll see. If you think you know who this is pertaining to, then you know what to do. You can contact us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram at NASA_never, or go to the website at neverstraightanswer.co.uk. We'll be putting out a recap during the week as well, in case you need a bit of a recap on what's going on. And what were they talking about again? Well, we've got some shout-outs.
We have.
We do indeed. Well, first of all, big shout-out to our Patreons who do help us a lot and support us and help us bring new episodes out every week. Big shout-out to Big J.
Yeah, Jay.
Big shout-out to Dunk Dunk.
Dunk Dunk.
And a big shout out to the number one Patreon, Mr. Swoosh.
Swooshy, wooshy, baby. Woo! He'll be out taking his dog out now, listening to us.
Yeah, he will. Walkies.
Pick that up.
Walkies. Well, if you want to help us out and get onto Patreon, you can get a big shout out too. Help us out. Throw a bit of support. Buy us a coffee. You know what to do. Follow the links in the description.
Love my coffee.
We've got some shout outs and plugs. Honourable mentions and such. I love it when people go, will you shout out my podcast? But then when other people come in and say, I've got this other project, will you shout that out as well? It's always nice. So we've got a shout out for geargaming365.com. Basically, they said our show sounds really fun. A shout out but would be really cool. They make fun geek gear basically for fellow nerds. So they also play D&D and stream their games on YouTube. So check them out. So it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah. Go on, lads.
Also, big shout out to so they were called the Geeky Seamstress.
The Geeky Seamstress.
The Geeky Seamstress. Big shout out to you. Jackie watches Stuff podcast. Regarding secret Jewish space lasers, is the laser operated by Jews or laser that identifies as a Jew? What? See, I don't buy into that whole conspiracy theory. I can see what she's saying.
They've got lasers in space or something.
Yeah, space lasers, and that's what all the wildfires are. You know what? It's like, I don't go in for any of this anti-Semitic conspiracy theory stuff. I think that in terms of like conspiracy theories, they're all as kind of everyone's as fucked up as everybody else, and these conspiracy theories on every side. Yeah, right. So
and conspiracy facts as well.
And conspiracy facts, yeah. So I mean, space lasers. If it is, it probably isn't operated by anyone in particular, apart from like governments. I'd say
the US who would be controlling it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it probably was Trump. Do you know what I mean?
It probably was. Yeah. Well, he did the
Space Force, didn't he?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Shout out to Joe, that nerd dad. He said he'd love a shout out for the Nerd Dad podcast. So there you go. We love nerd dads.
We do. James and nappies.
Big shout out to Your Haunted House. Your Haunted House is a brand new podcast. Three best friends will discuss people's haunted house stories and any other spooky encounters that they come across.
Hey, yeah. We always like a good spooky.
Yep. The Jury Room podcast.
Oh, I like the jury.
Oh, yeah, you'd like that. It's all law.
Yeah. That's it.
The Thus podcast, VHUS podcast. Also, the Good Evening Kiddies podcast. They say appreciate a shout out. Good Evening Kiddies podcast, all about Tales from the Crypts.
Oh right,
I love a bit of Tales from the Crypts. Yeah. Big shout out to the Movie Seller. They're doing a trilogy bash, and they'll be live broadcasting that. Also, they'll be doing a £5 donation to JDRF. So get your digital tickets.
Yeah, get in there.
Also, big shout out to Pinchy and Amelia's Bitchin' Boutique. They have a midweek. They have a Saturday show coming out this week where they're doing a live stream. They're going to sort out the dates, so keep an eye on their Twitter. Cool. Other shout outs for the week. Got a bunch.
An
absolute bunch. The Broadcast Podcast, Dads on Dayquil podcast.
What? What? They're all drugged up?
Yeah, they're all drugged up. The MNF. The MNE. That's a mouthful, isn't it? The MNEFE podcast. So that's the official home for Mark and Eddie Fix Everything. Ladies Fight podcast. How to love it.
How to Love It? Is that what they're doing?
No, that's another podcast. How to Love It.
Oh, right. How to Love It.
Just how to love it. Fight. Have a love everything. That's what people do. Podcast.
That's true.
The Queer Q. Lexi B, who's a writer, editor, book reviewer, and teacher. Oh, it's awesome.
Nice.
The Movie Chef podcast. The Cabinet of Dr. Mystery. I think we shouted you out. Beyond the Rainbow, Bringing Back Allies, You Cowards.
Bringing Back Allies, You Cowards.
Bring Back Allies, You Cowards.
That's a good name.
Big shout out to you. The Good Evening Kiddies, we shouted you. Crab Tales podcast. So Horrified. What a Trailer podcast.
What a trailer.
Yeah.
Caravan lot.
For Nerds by Nerds. Spy Hard podcast. The Geeky Seamstress, Stranger Dames, and Lady Justice podcast. There you go. Oh, sometimes I don't have the breath in me to get through all the shout outs.
I see it.
Well, I'll take a deep breath now.
I'm taking deep breaths for you.
I know, yeah. Well, there you go. That's all. That's everything. That's the week. I hope you've really enjoyed the show. Well, we did. I've enjoyed it tonight. I've had a big smile on my face all day. So if you all evening, if you like what we do, get in touch. If you've got any questions for us, comments or suggestions, you can email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. You can get over to Twitter and contact us at NASA_never, or go over to Instagram at Neverstraightanswer. We're available on all podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcast, on whichever player you decide to choose. We're available on there. We're also available on Facebook, on YouTube, on every other podcast platform. I say, everywhere. Just Google us.
If we're not on there, they don't exist.
Yeah, probably not. And we're always adding to new ones as well. Whenever a new platform shows up, we jump on it.
And
but
if you get on one that we're not on,
let us know.
Send us a line and we'll get on there.
Yeah, exactly. If you think, what's going on? No, never a straight answer. Sort it out. We'll get that RS feed sorted. No worries, chicken.
Anyway, no problem.
Don't forget to check out the website. We'll be putting out a lot more extra content over on YouTube over the next coming weeks. Plus, we've got so many guests lined up and some absolutely epic episodes. If you've got this far in the show, we salute you. You're an absolute fucking legend. What can I say?
Congratulations, you've won.
You've won life. You've completed it. What can I say?
That's it. Got to start all over again for next week.
Start next week's episode. Well, on further ado, we've got an epic episode for you next week. We'll catch you then. We've been the Never a Straight Answer podcast. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Edson.